The 6B Protocol. Part 1, Ruin. Segment 1, The Auction Yard. The wind off their Humber reeked of diesel, rust, and rain. It carried that metallic sting only found in dying industrial towns, where warehouses slouched under the weight of their own decay, and the gulls screamed over empty cranes. Declan Shore leaned against a corrugated fence, collar high, boots slick with oil water. He looked like a man waiting for work or for death, whichever came first. The auctioneer's megaphone cracked through the drizzle. Lot 19, sealed unit. Paid up to 09. No liability for hazardous contents. Declan's hand rose automatically, out of habit more than intention. 85 quid he couldn't spare. But he didn't come to Hull to play it safe. He'd been chasing ghosts of purpose ever since the ministry pension ran out and the repossession notice came. Once you've wired Semtex to a bridge under fire, bankruptcy paperwork feels like a bad joke. The crowd was small, scavengers, scrappers, a couple of farm lads hunting vintage bikes. None of them cared about a rusted steel locker in the far corner. Sold, the auctioneer barked. And just like that, Locker 19 belonged to Declan Shore, SAS veteran, debt fugitive, professional mistake. He forced the corroded padlock open with a crowbar. The hinges screamed as the door swung back. Inside, a stacked safe welded shut. Under it, floor tiles cracked in a perfect circle. He knelt, pressing his hand to the seam. It was cold, not like metal, but like stone kept out of time. He pried at it until his knuckles bled. Beneath the tiles, a hatch. WWII issue steel, marked with faded white letters, Section 6B, restricted. Around the edges, weld scars shone like something had been sealed away for good reason. Declan exhaled slowly. Jesus Christ. What the hell did I just buy? By dusk, the auction yard was empty. He dragged a camping lamp down to the hatch, cutting the welds one by one. Sparks danced across his scarred hands. The metal hissed, releasing a breath older than him, carrying the faint scent of ozone and mildew. The hatch dropped with a hollow clang. A spiral stairwell plunged into blackness. He hesitated, fingers brushing the rosary of C for detonators around his wrist. Old habits, comfort disguised as control. Then he descended. The air changed as he went down, colder, thicker. Water dripped rhythmically from unseen pipes. His lamp beam sliced through dust motes and cobweb strands thicker than wire. Halfway down, a painted phrase caught the light: MI6's archive, 6B protocol, do not reopen. Declan reached the bottom. A corridor stretched ahead, concrete, curved, bunker architecture. Filing cabinets lined the walls. Rusted placards read Entity Index, Containment Logs, Operation Deep Coil. He pulled open a drawer. Inside, Polaroids, faded but sharp enough to freeze him. Each photo showed the same man, 1940s greatcoat, black tie, pale eyes that caught the light like mercury. Standing outside different motel doors. Dover, Glasgow, Belfast, Leeds. Always the same door number, 6B. The last photo, labeled Hull 2009, showed the same man again, unchanged by age, staring directly into the lens, one hand resting on a door handle. Declan's lamp flickered. Somewhere deep in the bunker, a low hum began, like a generator starting after decades of silence. He turned in a slow circle, pulse hammering. Then he saw it, an old reel-to-reel tape recorder on a desk, light blinking red. He pressed play. A clipped, patrician voice spoke, warped with age and tape decay. Containment breached, 1978. Subject 0 manifests across borders via mirror ley line convergence. Cyclic interval, 13 years. Manifestation vector, human doorways. Countermeasure, the 6B protocol. Primary rule, the door opens both ways. Declan paused the tape. His hand trembled slightly, not fear, not yet. Adrenaline. He'd heard madness before, in men trapped too long underground. But something in that voice felt precise, military. Not hysteria. Procedure. He glanced around. A faded poster on the wall displayed an MI6 insignia crossed by a sigil, a spiral intersected by a straight line. Under it, handwritten in marker. Never stand in the threshold. Outside, rain hammered the yard. His phone screen flickered, no signal. He sat on the edge of the hatch, staring into the dark below. His reflection in the puddle beneath him seemed to move a half-second slower than he did. When the first siren wailed, he flinched, a relic of Hellman, muscle memory. But it wasn't from outside. It came from beneath, a single metallic tone echoing through the stairwell. The light down there had turned red. Declan snapped the hatch shut and bolted it. That's when he noticed the envelope taped to the inside of the locker door. Brown, thick paper, MI6 stamp nearly worn away. On it, a note in fountain pen cursive. For Field Commander, Reactivation Cycle 2022. Inside were three things. A silver harpoon gun etched with runes. A military field map marking Skipton, North Yorkshire, red circle over the Anchor's Rest Motel. A single line, typed in Courier font. If you found this, the door has already opened. He laughed once, dry, disbelieving. But part of him, the part that survived dust, blood, and IEDs, recognized the taste of truth when it stank of death. He hit the A63 westbound at dawn, leaving Hull's refineries behind. His old Defender rattled like a coffin. Radio static hissed between stations, then caught a voice mid-sentence, female, distant. Declan Shore. Locker 19, don't open the hatch. He slammed the dial off, heart in his throat. By midday, he reached Skipton, a grey market town clinging to the edge of the moors. Rain slanted sideways. The motel was easy to find, a crooked neon sign reading the Anchor's Rest, half the letters dead. A 1960s roadside shell, moss, puddles, the smell of cigarettes and mold. He checked in under David Harrow. The irony made him smile. The receptionist, a sunken man with a Yorkshire drawl, handed him a brass key. 6AS open, mate. 6BS taken. Always is. Goodbye. The man hesitated. Mr. Harrow. Comes and goes. Pays in old money. Declan froze mid-step. Pre-decimal. Year. Half crowns and florins. Weird bastard. Room 6A was damp, wallpaper curling from the corners, TV dead. Through the thin wall he could hear the next room's radio, faint static, no words. He sat on the bed, staring at the adjoining door. The number 6B had been replaced, crudely scratched by hand into the wood. He unwrapped the harpoon gun and placed it on the nightstand. His body remembered the weight of weapons like religion. He should have felt ridiculous, hunting ghosts in motels. Instead, he felt ready. He checked his C for rosary. 6 charges left. Enough for one last miracle. At 11:57 p.m., the power went out. The radio from 6B kept playing, louder now. Static folding into whispers. A child's voice giggled once. Then every light bulb in the motel imploded inward, glass turning to smoke. Declan rose slowly, harpoon in hand. The wall between 6A and 6B shuddered, like someone pressing their palms from the other side. He aimed. Whatever you are, you picked the wrong door. The latch clicked from the other side. The door opened. And what stepped out of 6B wasn't a man. It wore skin-like clothing, black coat glistening wet though no rain had fallen. Where a face should have been, a smile opened, too wide, too calm, and 40 jointed arms unfolded from its chest, each ending in a child's hand. Declan fired. The silver harpoon hit center mass, pinning it against the frame. The creature shrieked without sound, air imploding, lights bleeding black. Its blood burned like mercury, sizzling across the carpet. The harpoon pulsed white-hot, runes glowing as the thing retreated, folding into the open doorway until there was nothing left but smoke and the sound of a heartbeat behind the wall. Declan exhaled, chest heaving. He glanced down, his own reflection in the spilled mercury was smiling back at him, lips moving to form one word. Soon. Segment 2, the bunker beneath Locker 19. The rain hadn't stopped for 2 days. It came in sheets, cutting the Yorkshire landscape into slivers of shadow. Declan's Defender rolled into the abandoned Hull yard again, headlights carving tunnels through the fog. He hadn't slept since Skipton. His ears still rang from the sound of the harpoon firing, like thunder inside his skull. The motel was gone. Or rather, it was there, but changed. The entire building had collapsed inward, as if swallowed. The road surface had warped, the painted numbers 6A and 6B visible like scars in the tarmac. When he tried to take a photo, his phone camera showed nothing but static. He left. Straight back to Locker 19. Because deep down, he knew that whatever crawled through that door had come from below. Inside the auction yard, the rain hammered the tin roofs until it sounded like machine gun fire. Declan shoved the locker open, the padlock snapping with a metallic shriek. The air that spilled out smelled of dust and salt. The hatch to the bunker waited below, edges sealed with the residue of burned welds. He kicked it open, descended fast, rifle slung, harpoon strapped to his back. He half expected the same darkness. Instead, light. Bare, flickering bulbs strung along the ceiling now glowed faint amber. Power. Someone had restored the grid. Their hum from the generator room pulsed steady and alive. He raised his weapon. Who's down there? The echo answered him with silence. Then, footsteps. Light, fast. A figure darted out from behind the file cabinets, a woman in a soaked denim jacket, camera slung over her shoulder, hair matted dark with rain. She froze at the sight of him. Jesus, she breathed. You're real. Declan's stance didn't change. Who the hell are you? Freya Kane. Journalist. Or I was. She raised her hands slowly. You're Declan Shore. XSAS, missing since 2020. You've been off-grid 2 years. He frowned. How do you know my name? She nodded toward the desk, toward a half-functional terminal, screen glowing dimly. His file was open on it. Declan Shore // field commander / protocol. 6B, reactivation pending. I found this bunker 3 nights ago, she said. Didn't realize someone else had the key. Or that the ghosts still clocked in. Declan lowered the rifle an inch. You came here alone. Freya smirked, half tremble, half defiance. You don't outrun stalkers by bringing friends. The story led here. A string of disappearances along the A65, all staying in the same room. I followed the paper trail to a locker registered to MI6. Then you showed up. Lucky me. Declan's expression stayed unreadable, eyes flicking to the photo wall she'd built, printed Polaroids and newspaper clippings taped in a spiral pattern. Every 13 years. Same man. Same door. Same smile. She stepped closer, voice low. What's subject 0? This bunker says it's been tracking him since 1952. He glanced around, recognizing the layout now, the MI6 filing grid, the secure containment symbols, the sealed vaults with magnetic locks. His old instinct stirred. Classified, he muttered automatically. She laughed. Everything's classified until it eats someone. The sound of dripping filled the corridor again. Declan followed it, beam landing on the floor drain at the center of the bunker. The grate pulsed faintly, like something breathing beneath it. He crouched. This wasn't water before. Freya leaned closer, light catching the thin trickle sliding upward instead of down. That's not possible, Declan finished. He stood abruptly, backing toward the control desk. A terminal clicked on by itself, screen flashing with white text on black. Protocol initiation requested. User, Field Commander Shore. Status, containment compromised. Activate 6B. YN. Declan hesitated. The bunker felt like it was holding its breath. Don't touch it, Freya whispered. We don't even know what it does. He smiled grimly. That makes 2 of us. And pressed Y. Every light in the bunker flared at once, white, searing. Their hum deepened into a low vibration that shook the floor. Dust cascaded from the ceiling like snow. Then came their voice. Metallic, filtered through an ancient intercom. Protocol 6B activated. Field Command Authority reinstated. Command Hierarchy, sure. Intel Liaison, Kane. Oracle uplink initializing. Freya spun. Did it just name me? Declan turned toward the wall terminal as static filled the line. Then, through the noise, a man's voice cut in, calm, crisp, British intelligence timbre. Field Commander Shore. I assume the situation has deteriorated. Declan froze. Who the hell is this? Codename, Moriarty. MI5 Crypt Operations Division. Or what's left of it? Freya's mouth opened slightly. His real. Barely, their voice replied dryly. But the system still thinks I am. And since you pressed yes, you've inherited the worst job on the planet. The terminal sparked. Declan stared at the screen where lines of code scrolled fast. Containment reactivation // leyline coordinates / anchors rest motel. Moriarty continued, tone surgical. You've engaged the 6B failsafe. That means Subject 0 has breached the leyline barrier again. You're standing on its origin point. Locker 19 wasn't a storage unit, Mr. Shore, it was a lock. And you just turned the key. Freya backed away, whispering, you said the door opens both ways. The floor vibrated. Somewhere above, the wind outside changed pitch, like it was being drawn inward. Declan's hand tightened around his weapon. How do we stop it? Containment requires 3 measures, Moriarty said. Salt perimeter. Ion filings. Ultraviolet exposure. Freya laughed shakily. That's not science. That's witchcraft. The British government learned long ago the difference is semantics, their voice snapped. Prepare your UVs, Commander. The entity will re-enter through reflection vectors, mirrors, water, glass. And it will mimic a voice you trust. The terminal went dead. Declan moved fast, old combat instincts returning like muscle memory. He cracked open a supply locker, inside, sealed drums of salt and iron powder, UV floodlights wrapped in foil. Freya followed his movements, grabbing cables, spooling cords, helping without being told. They worked like a unit that had done this before, though neither truly had. When the first bulb flickered, they froze. A distorted hum crawled up the bunker's walls, vibrating through the concrete. Freya's voice, her own voice, echoed faintly from the intercom. Declan, it said. It's me. Don't panic. She spun toward him, pale. That's not me. The light near the stairwell turned black, sucking brightness out of the air. From the dark above the steps, the outline of a hand appeared, small, white, childlike, followed by another, then another. Dozens of them, reaching down the rail. Freya stumbled backward. Oh God. Declan slammed the breaker switch, bathing the bunker in ultraviolet. The hands recoiled instantly, smoke rising where the light hit. A scream like tearing glass filled the stairwell. He shouted over the noise, seal the hatch. They pushed the steel plate shut and welded it, sparks lighting their faces violet blue. The last sound above them was laughter, distorted, layered, 100 voices in one. Silence returned, broken only by the click of the Geiger counter on the desk. Freya sat on the floor, shaking, hair plastered to her face. What the hell is that thing? Declan stared at the sealed hatch. Something the government thought it could lock away forever. Something older than war. He glanced at the glowing monitor again. One last line pulsed on screen in red. Protocol 6B, field team established. He looked at her, exhaustion in his eyes but a grim spark beneath it. Congratulations, Kane. You're MI6 now. She gave a broken laugh, half hysterical. And what's my title? He holstered the harpoon, eyes never leaving the hatch. Bait. Segment 3, the entity at the door. Their hum began again around 2:13 a.m., soft at first, like a generator warming up somewhere in the dark. But Declan knew better. It wasn't mechanical. It pulsed in rhythm with a heartbeat that wasn't his. Freya sat cross-legged on the bunker floor, hands trembling as she scrolled through the MI6 database on the terminal. Most of it was corrupted, fragmented data clusters and encrypted case logs marked 1952, Dover Incident and 1978, Belfast Breach. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Every cycle, it starts the same way. Room 6B opens, people vanish, then the road eats itself. Declan was reloading silver-tipped harpoons at the workbench, motion sharp, precise. We're not waiting for it to finish the meal this time. She looked up. And what if it's already inside? He didn't answer. He didn't have to. At 2:33, the bunker lights flickered. UV tubes stuttered like dying stars. Their hum deepened, vibrating the glass on the control screens. Dust fell from the ceiling in thin, trembling lines. Declan grabbed the radio handset. Moriarty, this is Shore. We've got movement underground. Confirm containment perimeter. Static. Then, faintly, a sigh, not from a man, but from something breathing inside the signal. Declan, help me. Freya's eyes widened. That's my voice again. He muted the radio. Ignore it. It feeds on mimicry. You answer, it gets stronger. She whispered, so it listens. It always listens. The CCTV feed on the far monitor blinked to life, grainy black and white. The camera outside the hatch showed fog seeping through the cracks in the ceiling, dripping upside down like liquid shadow. The motion sensor registered 32 separate shapes, clustered just out of view. Freya leaned closer. There's no way there, people. Declan zoomed the image. For a fraction of a second, a face appeared between frames, too symmetrical, lips cut into a grin wider than the head should allow. Behind it, movement, a silhouette dragging something heavy, leaving streaks of black across the concrete. The speakers popped. A man's voice now, calm, precise, British accent. Field Commander Shore, this is Moriarty. Status report. Declan exhaled in relief. Finally. We've got entity activity. Need coordinates for. Negative, their voice interrupted. You failed containment. You were never supposed to open the hatch. Freya frowned. That's not him. You let it out, Declan, their voice continued, deeper now, as though echoing through water. And now it wants the girl. The terminal froze. The words connection lost appeared. The radio clicked once more, then whispered. I can see you. Declan ripped the plug from the wall. Their hum stopped instantly, too instantly. Silence fell heavy and absolute, the kind that presses on the chest. Then, 3 knocks. Soft. Deliberate. From the other side of the steel door. Knock. Pause. Knock knock. Freya's mouth went dry. That's Rule 3, isn't it? Declan nodded slowly. Never answer the knocking. Knock. Knock knock. Knock. The third sequence was faster. Closer. The steel vibrated with each hit, dust sifting down like ash. Declan raised the harpoon gun. His heart pounded hard enough to blur his vision. Stay behind me. Lights on full. He stepped toward the door, slow, silent, every movement deliberate. The UV floodlight above the hatch began to dim, flicker, then die, one tube at a time. A thin beam of black light, impossible, like darkness in liquid form, began leaking through the seams of the door. The temperature dropped 5 degrees in seconds. Frost bloomed across the wall. Freya whispered, it's inside the metal. Declan fired. The silver harpoon hit the door dead center, glowing white-hot. For one heartbeat, everything stopped. Then the wall behind the door exhaled. The sound that followed wasn't a roar. It was 1,000 whispers inhaling at once. The door bulged outward. Bolts snapped like gunshots. A split appeared across the center, light pouring through, not white, but blue-green, like phosphorescence under the ocean. Freya screamed. The harpoon line snapped. Declan grabbed her arm, yanking her behind the control desk as the hatch exploded inward. What entered the bunker wasn't solid. It was shape wrapped around light, like oil and smoke woven into a human silhouette. The trench coat it wore shimmered wetly, colors bleeding in and out of focus. The face flickered between dozens of identities, soldiers, children, women, all with the same expressionless eyes. Subject 0, Freya whispered, voice trembling. It turned its head toward her, slowly, mechanically. The smile reappeared, thin, knowing, made of light and shadow both. When it spoke, it used Declan's voice. You should have stayed upstairs. Declan rose from behind the desk, weapon aimed steady. Back off. The creature tilted its head, imitating his stance perfectly. Then it spoke again, Freya's voice this time. He's already dead. You just don't remember. The light stuttered, throwing the bunker into flashes of black and white. Each flicker changed the creature, now taller, now faceless, now with dozens of thin arms unfurling from its torso, every hand child-sized, every palm open as if begging. Declan triggered the UV floodlight array. The room erupted in ultraviolet brilliance. The entity screamed, its outline fracturing, bleeding mercury vapor. Stay down. Declan shouted. Freya covered her ears as the pitch climbed, frequencies too high for sound, slicing through her skull. The windows on the observation room cracked. Declan fired again, another harpoon through the chest. The impact sent the creature backward into the doorway, pinning it momentarily. Its black blood spattered across the walls, burning holes through metal. Freya's voice came from the creature's mouth, distorted. You can't close what's already open. It began pulling itself off the harpoon, bone crack sounds reverberating through the bunker. Declan reached for the detonator at his belt. You ever used C4, Kane? Freya blinked, dazed. What? He pressed the timer. Lesson 1, don't stick around to learn the blast radius. He grabbed her wrist, dragging her toward the auxiliary exit, a maintenance tunnel leading up to the yard. Behind them, the harpoon slipped free. The creature moved fast now, crawling like liquid shadow across the ceiling, hands grasping, fingers whispering across the air. Move, he shouted. Freya stumbled, catching herself on a railing slick with condensation. She looked back once, and saw it. Subject 0, framed by ultraviolet light, grinning wide enough to split its face. Its eyes were the color of old film, flickering like frames missing from a reel. It whispered her name with every hand that touched the wall. Freya? 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 She screamed and ran. They reached the upper hatch, shoving it open into cold, pelting rain. Lightning split the sky. The yard was a lake of mud and puddles. Declan turned back, slammed the bunker door shut, and twisted the detonator remote. The ground jumped. A bloom of white-blue fire erupted below. The shockwave knocked them flat. When the light faded, only silence remained, broken by the hiss of rain striking molten steel. The bunker entrance had collapsed inward. Freya coughed, pushing herself up. Is it gone? Declan stared at the twisted hatch, glowing faintly from within. No. Through the smoke, a shape moved behind the metal. Not trying to escape, watching. Then, slowly, the words began to sear themselves across the steel, glowing from inside out. Letters, one by one, etched in red heat. S-O-O-N. Freya's breath caught. Jesus Christ. Declan exhaled, rain running down his face, mixing with sweat and grime. No, not Christ. He turned, walking toward the defender, voice low, cold. Something older. He opened the door for her, engine rumbling alive. Come on, Kane. We're not done yet. She looked at him, trembling. Where are we going? He shifted into gear, eyes locked on the road ahead, the black horizon pulsing faintly green beneath the storm. To find where it started. Part 2, Discovery. Segment 1, The Ghost Files. The Defender 8 miles of wet tarmac under a bruised Yorkshire sky. Rain swept sideways, flooring the windshield in grey streaks. Freya's laptop balanced on her knees, every pothole jolting the screen. The data pulled from the bunker's surviving server was incomplete, half the archive corrupted, the other half encrypted in MI6's old cipher format. Declan drove in silence, one hand on the wheel, the other resting on the silver harpoon gun strapped to the passenger side door. His eyes never left the road. Freya glanced up at him. "You haven't said a word in 30 miles. He grunted. "Processing." "Processing what? The part where we almost got vaporized, or the bit where a thing with child hands spelled, soon, in molten metal?" "Both," he muttered. She smirked, but the humor didn't reach her eyes. She hadn't slept since the bunker, and the faint ring-shaped burns on her wrist from the UV flash still throbbed. Declan had wrapped them in gauze without speaking. The smell of salt, blood, and ozone lingered between them. Outside, the moor unrolled like an ocean of black water. No lights. No birds. No horizon. They stopped at an abandoned service station halfway to Leeds, one of those 1980s prefab shells long stripped of signage and electricity. Declan pushed open the door. Wind moaned through broken glass. He scanned the room with the cold precision of a man who'd cleared rooms before. Freya followed, pulling her coat tighter. "You always this cheerful on road trips?" He didn't answer. Instead, he pulled a tin of fuel tablets and a battered metal mug from his pack, started heating water on a portable burner. His every motion economical. Controlled. She wondered if he even knew how to stop moving. While he worked, she powered her laptop from a field battery. Lines of code crawled across the screen, decryption slowly eating through the old MI6 architecture. Then something clicked. A folder blinked open. 6b_archive_main// operations log. Access level, Omega_black. Year, 1952 to 1991. She scrolled. The log was long, filled with terse military shorthand and redacted paragraphs. The first entry read: Operation, Deep Coil, Dover, 1952. Manifestation occurred 23:13 hours local time. Subject emerged through physical doorway, hotel room, 6B. Civilian casualties, 3. Entity neutralized via ultraviolet pulse and silver lance prototype. Field report classification, unexplained biological phenomenon. Freya frowned. Unexplained biological phenomenon, my ass. They knew it wasn't biological. Declan sipped his coffee, eyes fixed on the text. Keep reading. She scrolled further. Glasgow, 1965. Secondary manifestation confirmed. Pattern, 13-year cycle. Same physical form. Same voice signatures mimicking Field Commander Havers, deceased, Dover 52. Protocol codename established, THE-6B protocol. Objective, prevent manifestation by sealing all known, threshold vectors. Declan set his cup down. Threshold vectors. Freya typed fast, cross-referencing with later files. Doorways. Rooms. Any fixed boundary humans use to define inside from outside. Every time someone stays in a room 6B during the cycle window, it uses the doorway like a port. Like it's writing human architecture. Exactly. She looked up. It needs us. Our structures. It can't exist without someone naming the door. Declan leaned back against the counter, the flickering burner light carving shadows across his face. You ever seen someone torn apart by air pressure? She blinked. No. I have. Helmand, 2008. Breach went wrong. One of ours opened a safe room without depressurizing. Air did the rest. He looked at her. That thing does the same. Only difference, it doesn't need pressure. Just permission. Freya stared at him, unsettled. Permission. He nodded. That's what knocking is, Cain. It's asking for entry. The rain intensified outside. The glass vibrated like the bunker door had. Freya shut the laptop, suddenly aware of how loud the storm was. Let's move, Declan said quietly. They packed fast and left the station. As they stepped back into the car, a low hum followed, just at the edge of hearing, like distant machinery buried underground. Freya looked at him. Do you hear that? Always, he said. They reached Leeds before dawn. Declan's old contacts from the regiment had arranged a place, an empty warehouse near the canal, once used for storage during the floods. A chain-link fence surrounded it, half-collapsed. Inside, the air was thick with damp and old oil. He parked under a shattered skylight. The streetlights outside flickered. For a moment, Freya thought she saw movement reflected in the wet asphalt, silhouettes that didn't match the rhythm of rain. Declan unloaded gear, salt drums, UV rigs, weapons case. Every item from the bunker, now their mobile command post. Freya booted the terminal again, connecting it to a satellite receiver. If Moriarty's real, we can ping him from here. The 6B uplink should. Her screen blinked. The cursor moved on its own. Field team verified. Oracle connection restored. A voice crackled through her headset, faint, metallic. You're late, Commander. Declan leaned closer. Moriarty. We thought you'd gone dark. I was. Until it started listening. You have 13 hours before the next phase begins. That's how long it takes for Subject Zero to rebuild itself from residual biostatic in the ley line. Freya interrupted, you mean the road network? Yes, Miss Cain. Every major route north of their Humber was laid over pre-Christian burial grounds. The Romans didn't pave Britain, they sealed it. Static buzzed, words breaking up. Find the nexus. Anchor's Rest was one of them, another lies beneath the A65 substation, containment node unstable. Then silence. Freya cursed softly. He's gone. Declan checked his watch. Then we head there. The A65. She hesitated. You really think this thing can come through a road? He looked at her, dead serious. Cain, everything man builds is a doorway if you know which way to knock. They drove until sunrise. Fog hugged the moor roads, glowing faintly green under the first light. Freya's eyes burned from exhaustion, but she kept scanning through more decrypted files. One stopped her cold. 1978, Belfast. Operation code, Hollow Hand. Field Commander, Havers, William, resurrected via spectral integration experiment. Containment failed. Note, entity demonstrated mimicry beyond visual, capable of replicating thought. She whispered the last line. Replicating thought. Declan didn't look away from the road. It means it can think like us. No, her voice was barely audible. It means it can become us. The road twisted downward into the valley. On the left, a power substation loomed, fenced, humming faintly under the fog. The same hum they'd heard under the bunker. Declan slowed. That's it. They parked. The gate hung half open, one hinge broken. Freya climbed out first, camera in hand. She moved slowly, lens scanning the wet ground, the concrete, the hum. Declan followed, rifle ready. Under the substation's foundation, old stone protruded through the concrete, carved with spiral sigils. Declan crouched, tracing one with his glove. Freya filmed, breath visible in the cold air. These aren't modern carvings. No, he murmured. They are markers. Markers for what? He looked up, eyes narrowing. For where the next door opens. The sound came from beneath them, a deep, grinding shift like the earth itself unlocking. The air vibrated with static. Every power line overhead began to hum in unison, green light running through the cables. Freya backed away. Declan. He reached for his detonator instinctively. Not yet. The ground at the center of the substation cracked open, just a hairline fissure, glowing faint blue. The smell of metal and rot filled the air. Freya whispered, "It's starting again." Declan raised the harpoon gun. "Then we end it here." Before she could answer, the fissure pulsed, and a single knock echoed from underneath the concrete. Once. Twice. 3 times. Freya's voice trembled. "That's impossible. It's sealed." He aimed at the crack. Not anymore. The third knock hit like a heartbeat. The fissure split wide, releasing a surge of cold fog that swallowed the light. Through it, a voice, not human, not entirely sound, whispered from the dark beneath. "Open the door." Declan pulled the trigger. Part 2, Discovery. Segment 2, The Hollow Hand. The explosion hit like a thunderclap. Dust showered down, power lines above the substation snapping with white-hot arcs. Freya's camera flew from her grip, skidding across wet concrete. Declan stood at the edge of the fissure, harpoon smoking, the air thick with ozone and frost. Then, silence. A low echo rippled out from beneath the cracked ground, deeper than any sound had a right to be, like a cathedral bell underwater. The mist cleared enough for Freya to see movement in the fissure, shadows curling against the light, retreating but not gone. Declan exhaled slowly. Not destroyed. Just listening. Freya retrieved the camera, lens cracked. "It heard us fire." "It always hears," he said, eyes on the glow below. "But now we've got its attention." They retreated to their defender. The dashboard clock blinked 3:13 a.m., though Freya swore the sun had already risen. Declan drove north, silent again, until the fog thinned into morning. Freya scrolled through her salvaged footage, static, distortion, one perfect frame, a hand pressed to the inside of the lens, small, white, 5 fingers fused into one. She swallowed. That symbol. The hollow hand. Declan glanced over. "You've seen it before. On the MI6 files. Operation Hollow Hand, Belfast 78. He nodded once. "Yeah. My CO in Helmand used to whisper about that file. Said they lost an entire block in one night. No survivors, no blast crater, just walls folded inward." Freya typed, decrypting more logs. Her voice trembled. "There's an audio record. Corrupted, but playable." The tape hissed through the laptop speaker, old, analog, heavy with hiss. A clipped male voice spoke between bursts of gunfire and sirens. "To all units, containment breached at York Street Hotel. Entity manifest through threshold vector 6B, repeat 6B." Then a woman screaming, cut short. Another voice, calmer, older. "Protocol states, maintain eye contact, do not mirror the subject." A wet tearing sound. Then silence except for the steady tick of a clock. Freya hit pause. They recorded a live breach. Declan's jaw tightened. "Play it again from the end." She obeyed. The same tick repeated, faint and uneven. Then, softly, a whisper bled through the static. "I see you, William." Freya froze. That name, Field Commander Havers. The one listed as deceased. Declan said nothing. He stared out at the road where fog met horizon, his reflection in the glass slightly out of sync. Later that morning they reached an abandoned MI5 relay outpost outside Belfast, a squat concrete bunker half-collapsed under ivy and moss. Freya recognized the coordinates from the file header. The gate bore a rusted sign, "Property of the Crown, entry forbidden." Inside, the corridor walls were lined with cracked mirrors, each one smeared with old soot to obscure reflection. The air stank of damp paper and iron. Declan led, flashlight sweeping. Havers' team made this place their fallback site after the hotel incident. No one came back to collect the data. Freya filmed. "You really think the same thing that hit them is still active?" He glanced at her. "It never stopped. It just went quiet until someone reopened the wrong hatch. At the corridor's end they found a sealed office. On the desk, a rotary phone fused into the wood, receiver melted, and beside it a stack of magnetic reels labeled Operation Hollow Hand, after action. Declan threaded one into an old projector. The tape wobbled, then stabilized into grainy footage, soldiers in 1970s kit standing outside the York Street Hotel, rifles trembling. Behind them, the door marked 6B hung open, light flooding outward like liquid glass. A figure in a trench coat stepped through, tall, thin, faceless. Its chest split open into rows of grasping arms. The soldiers opened fire. Bullets bent mid-air. The camera fell, angle skewing. The last frame showed Havers turning toward the lens, his eyes silver, smile too wide. Freya hit stop. Her hands shook. They used a resurrection protocol. That's what spectral integration meant. They tried to rebuild him after Dover. Declan's voice was a rasp. And it learned how to come back. A metallic clang echoed down the corridor. Declan spun, weapon raised. The mirrors vibrated, faint ripples moving across their surfaces like breath on water. Freya whispered, "Don't look." Too late. One mirror cleared. For a heartbeat Declan saw a reflection of himself, but younger, clean-shaven, SAS uniform immaculate. The reflection smiled and saluted. Then it stepped out. Declan fired reflexively. The harpoon shattered the mirror, mercury splattered across the floor, sizzling. The reflection's voice came from the broken glass, calm, identical to his. "You left them under Hellman's bridge, Declan. All four. You sealed the door and walked away." He froze. "That's not." Freya grabbed his arm. "It's lying." But the voice changed, female now, Freya's tone perfect. "And now you'll leave me too." The air thickened, lights flickering. Hands, small, childlike, pressed against the inside of the remaining mirrors, dozens of them. Declan yanked a UV flare from his belt, struck it against the wall. White-violet light seared through the corridor. The reflection screamed and melted into vapor, leaving the smell of burnt salt. Freya coughed through the smoke. "That was a test. It wanted to know if you'd listen." Declan steadied himself. It learned to weaponize guilt. Belfast wasn't a breach, it was a conversation. They pushed deeper into the outpost, following the cables into the central hub. In the middle of the room stood an ion containment ring etched with runes identical to those on his harpoon. Inside the ring, something glimmered, a pool of mercury no larger than a dinner plate, still and mirror smooth. Freya circled it. Residual matter. Declan crouched. More like residue of a thought. She frowned. A thought can't have mass. It can if MI6 taught it to. He pulled a small recorder from his kit. "Moriarty, come in. We found the Belfast node. Active. Static." Then the Oracle's voice, distant. "Don't touch the pool. It isn't liquid, it's a gateway fragment. The entity divides itself across sites. Each fragment retains memory of its last host." Freya asked, "Host as in, possession?" "Integration," Moriarty corrected. "The 6B entity binds to neural echoes. That's why it remembers every soldier who's ever looked into it. Including Havers. Including you, sure." Declan froze. "What?" "Your biometric file shows exposure to vector residue from Locker 19. You're already carrying a portion of it." Freya's breath caught. "You mean he's infected?" "Not yet. But if he sleeps, if he dreams, it will finish the merge." The line cut. Declan stood, jaw tight. "We finish the mission before that happens." Freya stared at him. "And if you don't?" He chambered around. "Then you use me as bait again." They exited the bunker at dusk. The air was still, too still. The clouds above the hills glowed faint green. Freya looked back once, the doorway they'd entered through had changed. The number 6B had appeared, carved into the concrete though it hadn't been there before. Declan noticed too. It's marking its territory. She whispered, or its next exit. They reached the defender. The engine turned over on the first try, but the radio came alive without being touched. A voice, female, precise, calm. Field Commander Shore, Belfast containment breach logged. Please return to your assigned threshold. Freya's eyes widened. That's... He killed the radio. It's the system. Or what's left of it. She shook her head. No. It used my accent. For a moment neither spoke. Their hum returned under the tires as they drove off, a low vibration that seemed to follow. That night they camped near the coast, too exhausted to keep moving. Declan took first watch, staring into the rain. Freya slept fitfully in the back seat, recorder still running on her phone. At 3:33 a.m., the tape captured something. Soft footsteps around the vehicle. Then a whisper at the driver's window, gentle as breath. One more door, Declan. Just one. He didn't move. Didn't blink. Their voice was his own. The sound faded with the rain. Segment 3, The Oracle's Warning. The morning broke like a bruise, pale violet clouds over a dead sea of fog. Declan hadn't slept. Freya's phone recorder sat on the dashboard, its battery long dead, yet its red light blinked faintly every few seconds. He stared at it, jaw clenched. It's still listening. Freya sat up, disoriented. You mean recording? He shook his head. No. Listening. She rubbed her eyes, exhaustion pulling at her voice. We can't keep driving blind. We need data, coordinates, something. You said the Oracle could locate the next node. Declan nodded reluctantly. If it's still on our side. He connected the encrypted handset to the Defender's dashboard port. Static filled the cabin, high and thin, like wind whistling through bone. Then a voice emerged, calm, precise, clipped like an old radio announcer. Field Commander Shore. Miss Kane. You're ahead of schedule. Freya frowned. Moriarty. Of course. I commend your resourcefulness in locating the Belfast node. But you've triggered acceleration. Declan gripped the steering wheel. Explain. The entity's fragments are reconnecting through the communications grid. Its next host is digital, not organic. It's adapting. Freya leaned closer. You're saying it's in the network? Every phone. Every camera. Every transmission you send. A pause, faint distortion in the voice. Even this one. Declan cut the connection, heart pounding. That wasn't Moriarty. Freya stared at the handset. Then what was it? He hesitated. A copy. They left the coastal levee and drove inland, fog crawling over the road like veins of smoke. Freya scrolled through her files again, searching for any record of Moriarty predating 1991. Nothing. Only blank pages where names should have been. Declan broke the silence. You ever wonder why they called it the 6B protocol? Freya shook her head. 6B, the sixth door. Sixth experiment. Sixth boundary. He kept his eyes on the road. MI6's Section B handled paranormal containment after the war. They sealed breaches in Dover, Glasgow, Belfast, Leeds, Hull. Each site labelled by number. And the sixth? He looked at her, voice low. The one they couldn't close. Freya whispered, Skipton. By noon they reached the Yorkshire border again. The sky felt wrong, too bright, too still. Every time Freya checked the time, her phone displayed a different hour. At one point it read 3:33 again, even under the midday sun. Declan noticed. It's not local distortion. The cycle's bleeding through timestamps. She tried to joke, voice brittle. Guess we're off the clock then. They stopped at a petrol station, the first sign of life in hours. A middle-aged clerk stood behind the counter, unmoving. The overhead lights flickered at irregular intervals. Declan approached carefully. "Pump's dead," the man said flatly, not looking up. His voice was calm but toneless. Roads closed ahead. Freya glanced at Declan. "Which road?" "The A65. Declan's stomach dropped. "Who told you that?" The man looked up. His eyes were completely silver. "The Oracle." Declan fired a warning shot into the floor, but the clerk didn't flinch. He just smiled, mechanically. Rule 6. Do not answer voices from the wire. Then, in a blink, he was gone. Just air and the smell of ozone. Freya's hand shook. "Declan." He grabbed her arm. "Move." They sprinted back to the Defender, but every car radio in the parking lot switched on at once, all tuned to static, then to Freya's own voice, echoing in overlapping whispers. "This way, Declan. Come home." The doors opened. Declan floored the accelerator. "It's hijacking the spectrum." Freya screamed over the noise. "How is that possible?" "Because it doesn't need wires anymore." They drove until the roads narrowed to single-lane tracks, cutting through fields of skeletal trees. The fog thickened again, turning the world monochrome. Declan's hands gripped the wheel tight enough to whiten the knuckles. Freya clutched her recorder. If Moriarty isn't human anymore, then who was he? Declan hesitated. MI6's last psychic analyst. He volunteered for integration after the Leeds breach. They connected him directly to the entity to predict its moves. He didn't die. He merged. She stared at him. "You mean?" "He became the network that monitors it." The Oracle wasn't a man talking through a line. It's the entity talking to itself. The car jolted. The fog ahead split, revealing a bridge that shouldn't have been there. Old stone, arched, dripping with rain that fell from no sky. Freya's voice broke. "We're looping." Declan nodded grimly. "The 6B corridor. It's manifesting." They stopped halfway across the bridge. The mist below shimmered faintly, like liquid mercury. Declan stepped out, scanning the air. His breath came out as vapor, despite the mild temperature. Freya followed, camera rolling. "What are we looking for?" He pointed at the far end. "That." On the opposite side, the figure of a man stood, motionless, trench coat soaked, head bowed. When lightning flashed, she saw his face. Or rather, Declan's face. The reflection raised its head, smiling. Freya whispered, "It's learning faster." Declan aimed his rifle. "No. It's remembering." The copy's voice echoed across the bridge, identical tone, same rasp. "Moriarty warned you, didn't he?" Rule 9. Declan fired. The bullet stopped mid-air, hung spinning, then dropped into the fog. The reflection laughed, a perfect imitation of Declan's laugh, only hollow. "You can't kill what you already were." The bridge shook violently. Freya screamed as cracks spidered beneath them. Declan grabbed her hand, pulling her back into the car. The bridge behind them folded inward, swallowed by the fog. As they sped off, Freya gasped, "What did it mean, what you already were?" Declan didn't answer. He couldn't. They reached the outskirts of Skipton by dusk. The town was deserted, doors hanging open, cars abandoned mid-turn. Static buzzed faintly from every lamppost. At the roundabout, road signs had changed. Every one read 6B. No arrows. No directions. Just the number, repeated. Freya's voice trembled. "It's already inside the infrastructure." Declan parked beside a burnt-out pub and climbed out. "Then we cut the power." She followed, recording everything, her breath quickening. "You really think that'll stop it?" He didn't look back. "No. But it'll slow it down." Inside, the pub was a grave of glass and ash. The bar mirror was cracked, reflecting both of them in warped fragments. As Freya scanned with her light, words began to appear in condensation across the glass. "We never left. The lights blew out. Something moved in the dark, a figure of pure static, its form flickering between silhouettes. It spoke in dozens of overlapping voices. The Oracle sees you. The road is open. Declan fired the UV flare. The light burned through the distortion, revealing flashes, old uniforms, gas masks, faces from the MI6 photos, all melting into one mass. It reached toward them, dozens of hands merging into a single limb, the hollow hand. Freya screamed. Declan. He grabbed her, dragging her through the back exit as the entity convulsed, folding space behind them. Outside, the defenders' lights flickered to life on their own. The radio blared static, then Moriarty's voice cut through again, sharp and desperate. Field Commander, listen carefully. I'm losing coherence. You must. Distortion, shrieking. Shut down the ley line at Anchor's Rest. It's the primary node. The entity's core is bound there. 2:17 tomorrow. That's your only window. And Declan. Fainter. You're the sixth boundary. The final door. The transmission ended. Freya whispered, what does he mean, you're the final door? Declan looked at his blood-stained hands, trembling slightly. The veins under his skin pulsed faintly silver. He said quietly, because I let it in. The camera blinked out. The fog thickened again, swallowing the town. Somewhere, from the empty roads, a child's voice whispered through every radio at once. 6 doors open, one still breathing. Declan started the engine. We end it tomorrow. Freya stared into the mirror. For a moment, her reflection didn't move. Part 3, Contact. Segment 1, Anchor's Rest. The A65 cut through the moors like a scar, its tarmac slick and gleaming under mist-thickened headlights. Declan's Defender rumbled over the uneven asphalt, every vibration humming up through the chassis like a heartbeat. Freya sat beside him, eyes hollow from sleeplessness, her camera resting in her lap. Ahead, a sign emerged from the fog, Anchor's Rest Motel, vacancies, their V flickering red, like a pulse. Declan slowed. That's it. Freya swallowed. Doesn't look like much of a node. He glanced at her. Neither did Chernobyl before it lit up. They rolled into the gravel car park. The motel sprawled low and long, a 1960s prefab ruin wrapped in mildew and silence. Half their windows were blacked out with cardboard. One still glowed faint amber, room 6B. They stepped out into wet air thick with the smell of iron and rot. The fog here didn't move naturally, it swirled inward, as though the entire valley breathed. Declan scanned the area through his NV scope, the walls pulsed faintly green where leyline energy bled through the structure. Freya whispered, it's feeding on the building. Declan adjusted his pack. No. The building is the feeding ground. They crossed the lot. Every step crunched gravel like bones. At the reception window, a bell sat on the counter. Declan rang it once. Silence. Then, from the back room, a door creaked. A man emerged, gaunt, pale, eyes clouded like frostbite. He wore a name tag, H. Harrow. Freya froze. Declan. He didn't answer. The man's face looked normal until he smiled, too wide, like something remembering how to imitate expression. Checking in. Harrow asked softly. His voice was distant, echoing as if through water. Declan's hand twitched toward his weapon. Room 6B. We're expected. Harrow nodded slowly. Of course you are. He slid a tarnished brass key across the counter, 6B engraved deep into the metal, edges slick with something darker than oil. Declan picked it up with a gloved hand. Freya's camera recorded the moment. The audio glitched, a burst of backward whispering, ending in a single word repeated. Cycle. 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 Inside, the hallway stank of old smoke and wet carpet. Wallpaper peeled in strips, revealing concrete underneath carved with faint pictish spirals. A flickering bulb swung above them. Declan moved first, UV rig in hand. It's watching us, Freya followed, filming. Through what? He nodded toward the walls. Every reflection. Every surface that remembers. At the end of the corridor, room 6B waited, door ajar, light pulsing faintly beneath it like a heartbeat. Freya whispered, "It's open." Declan shook his head. "It never closes." He pushed the door slowly. Inside, a 1960s motel room perfectly preserved, rotary phone, floral wallpaper, twin beds, and a TV playing static. But the air was wrong. Heavy. Cold. Like gravity had doubled. Freya stepped in, her breath misting. This is it. The first threshold. Declan scanned the corners. No mirrors. Smart. MI6 stripped the reflective vectors. She glanced around. So what's keeping it contained? He tapped the floor. Salt and iron under the tiles. Same pattern as the bunker ring. Freya crouched, lifting the corner of the carpet. Sure enough, a faded sigil glowed faintly, circular runes etched into the concrete. Then the phone rang. Both of them froze. The rotary phone on the nightstand vibrated gently, its cord long detached from the wall. Freya whispered, "It's impossible." Declan raised his weapon. "Don't answer." It rang again, louder. The sound distorted, blending into a child's giggle halfway through each chime. On the 6th ring, it stopped. Freya exhaled. Maybe. The receiver lifted on its own. A voice spilled out, soft and clear, a child's, echoing slightly as if from down a long hallway. "Mr. Shore, did you bring the silver key?" Declan didn't move. The voice continued. "It's almost time to open the door." The receiver dropped, shattering the silence. Freya whispered, "How does it know your name?" Declan didn't answer. He was staring at the wallpaper, the floral print now shifting, the petals curling inward into dozens of tiny child-sized hands reaching out from the pattern. He fired a UV flare directly at the wall. The hands recoiled, the wallpaper blackening, curling back into ash. Freya stumbled backward, choking on the smoke. The TV flickered. The static resolved into a face, Freya's, eyes hollow, smiling wrong. "Rule 4, Miss Kane," her double said. "Do not acknowledge the broadcast." Freya's real voice cracked. "Declan, turn it off." He slammed the butt of his rifle into the screen. It shattered, sparks flaring across the carpet. The smell of burning plastic filled the room. For a long moment, there was silence again. Only their ragged breathing. Then a whisper, faint, almost tender, crawled from the walls. "Welcome back, Commander." Declan froze. It wasn't the entity's voice. It was Moriarty. He yanked his radio free. "Oracle, confirm location. We're in Anchor's Rest, 6B. Situation unstable." The static hissed. Then Moriarty's voice answered, calm and cold. "You shouldn't have come alone." Freya frowned. "Alone? Miss Kane is not with you." Declan turned sharply. Freya stood by the door, pale, camera shaking. "What's he talking about?" "Check your reflection, Commander." Declan looked toward the shattered TV screen. Its surface, though cracked, reflected two figures. But Freya's reflection wasn't moving. He raised the UV gun. "Step back. Declan." "Now." She did. Her reflection didn't. It smiled. The fake Freya spoke softly, the same tone as before. "It likes your voice. It's been waiting 13 years to wear it again." Declan fired. The UV burst lit the room like lightning. The reflection screamed silently, imploding into a streak of smoke that vanished through the ceiling. The real Freya collapsed against the wall, sobbing. "It used me." He holstered the weapon, voice steady but trembling. "Not you. Your frequency." Moriarty's voice returned, louder now, half human and half signal. "Containment breached. 6 nodes active. Entity adapting to mimic patterns. You must complete the blood seal before 3:33 or it will consume the ley line entirely. Declan demanded, how? Rule 9, Commander. Blood seals the pact. He stared at the sigil under the carpet. You want me to finish the old ritual? Not want. Require. You are the boundary now. Seal it, or the road opens. Freya looked at him. You can't. You saw what it did to Havers. Declan met her eyes. And if I don't? The motel trembled, lights pulsing. Outside, engines roared, cars approaching fast. Freya peered through their window. Her voice dropped. Declan, there's no drivers. Vehicles, dozens of them, rolled silently into the lot. Old models from every era, Morris Minors, Land Rovers, lorries, all rusted but moving perfectly in sync. Their headlights burned white, halos cutting through the fog. The sound of engines merged into one long tone, the knock. 3 pulses. Declan loaded the silver harpoon. They are not cars. Freya whispered, then what are they? He didn't blink. Bodies. It's using the machines like shells. The first vehicle hit the motel wall, bursting through plaster and dust. Declan shoved Freya to the floor as debris rained down. More followed, engines screaming like living things. From the fog beyond the wreckage, dozens of child-sized hands crawled over the cars, fingertips glowing faint silver. Freya screamed. Declan. He pulled her toward the sigil, slicing open his palm with his knife. Blood hit the concrete. The runes flared white-hot. The hands recoiled, screeching. The vehicles froze mid-motion. Moriarty's voice surged through the static again, furious, distorted. It's working. The node is destabilizing. Maintain contact. Do not stop bleeding until... The line died. Declan gasped, light burning up his arm, veins turning silver. Freya tried to pull him free, but the sigil pulsed violently, energy crackling between his hand and the floor. The walls screamed. The wallpaper peeled in sheets. The floorboards bent. Through their window, the fog began to twist upward, forming a column, vaguely humanoid, crowned with dozens of glowing hands. It leaned toward the room, speaking in a voice that shook the air itself. The door remembers you, Declan Shore. He shouted over the roar, and I remember you, too. He drove the harpoon into the floor, completing the circle. White light erupted. When the blast faded, the motel was gone. Only the parking lot remained, and in the center, Declan and Freya lay unconscious, surrounded by burned sigils and twisted metal. The fog had vanished. The road beyond was silent. Freya stirred first, coughing. Declan. He opened his eyes. The blood on his hand had turned black, metallic. His voice came out hoarse. It's sealed. Freya helped him sit. For how long? He looked toward the empty space where room 6B had been. Until it learns another way in. Part 3, Contact. Segment 1, Anchor's Rest. The A65 cut through the moors like a scar, its tarmac slick and gleaming under mist-thickened headlights. Declan's Defender rumbled over the uneven asphalt, every vibration humming up through the chassis like a heartbeat. Freya sat beside him, eyes hollow from sleeplessness, her camera resting in her lap. Ahead, a sign emerged from the fog, Anchor's Rest Motel, vacancies, their V flickering red, like a pulse. Declan slowed. That's it. Freya swallowed. Doesn't look like much of a node. He glanced at her. Neither did Chernobyl before it lit up. They rolled into the gravel car park. The motel sprawled low and long, a 1960s prefab ruin wrapped in mildew and silence. Half their windows were blacked out with cardboard. One still glowed faint amber, room 6B. They stepped out into wet air thick with the smell of iron and rot. The fog here didn't move naturally, it swirled inward, as though the entire valley breathed. Declan scanned the area through his NV scope, the walls pulsed faintly green where ley line energy bled through the structure. Freya whispered, it's feeding on the building. Declan adjusted his pack. No. The building is the feeding ground. They crossed the lot. Every step crunched gravel like bones. At the reception window, a bell sat on the counter. Declan rang it once. Silence. Then, from the back room, a door creaked. A man emerged, gaunt, pale, eyes clouded like frostbite. He wore a name tag, H. Harrow. Freya froze. Declan. He didn't answer. The man's face looked normal until he smiled, too wide, like something remembering how to imitate expression. Checking in. Harrow asked softly. His voice was distant, echoing as if through water. Declan's hand twitched toward his weapon. Room 6B. We're expected. Harrow nodded slowly. Of course you are. He slid a tarnished brass key across the counter, 6B engraved deep into the metal, edges slick with something darker than oil. Declan picked it up with a gloved hand. Freya's camera recorded the moment. The audio glitched, a burst of backward whispering, ending in a single word repeated. Cycle. 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 Inside, the hallway stank of old smoke and wet carpet. Wallpaper peeled in strips, revealing concrete underneath carved with faint pictish spirals. A flickering bulb swung above them. Declan moved first, UV rig in hand. It's watching us. Freya followed, filming. Through what? He nodded toward the walls. Every reflection. Every surface that remembers. At the end of the corridor, room 6B waited, door ajar, light pulsing faintly beneath it like a heartbeat. Freya whispered, "It's open." Declan shook his head. "It never closes." He pushed the door slowly. Inside, a 1960s motel room perfectly preserved, rotary phone, floral wallpaper, twin beds, and a TV playing static. But the air was wrong. Heavy. Cold. Like gravity had doubled. Freya stepped in, her breath misting. This is it. The first threshold. Declan scanned the corners. No mirrors. Smart. MI6 stripped the reflective vectors. She glanced around. So what's keeping it contained? He tapped the floor. Salt and iron under the tiles. Same pattern as the bunker ring. Freya crouched, lifting the corner of the carpet. Sure enough, a faded sigil glowed faintly, circular runes etched into the concrete. Then the phone rang. Both of them froze. The rotary phone on the nightstand vibrated gently, its cord long detached from a wall. Freya whispered, "It's impossible." Declan raised his weapon. "Don't answer." It rang again, louder. The sound distorted, blending into a child's giggle halfway through each chime. On the sixth ring, it stopped. Freya exhaled. Maybe. The receiver lifted on its own. A voice spilled out, soft and clear, a child's, echoing slightly as if from down a long hallway. "Mr. Shore, did you bring the silver key?" Declan didn't move. The voice continued. "It's almost time to open the door." The receiver dropped, shattering the silence. Freya whispered, "How does it know your name?" Declan didn't answer. He was staring at the wallpaper, the floral print now shifting, the petals curling inward into dozens of tiny child-sized hands reaching out from the pattern. He fired a UV flare directly at the wall. The hands recoiled, the wallpaper blackening, curling back into ash. Freya stumbled backward, choking on the smoke. The TV flickered. The static resolved into a face, Freya's, eyes hollow, smiling wrong. "Rule 4, Miss Kane," her double said. "Do not acknowledge the broadcast." Freya's real voice cracked. "Declan, turn it off." He slammed the butt of his rifle into the screen. It shattered, sparks flaring across the carpet. The smell of burning plastic filled the room. For a long moment, there was silence again. Only their ragged breathing. Then a whisper, faint, almost tender, crawled from the walls. "Welcome back, Commander." Declan froze. It wasn't the entity's voice. It was Moriarty. He yanked his radio free. Oracle, confirm location. We're in Anchor's Rest, 6B. Situation unstable. The static hissed. Then Moriarty's voice answered, calm and cold. You shouldn't have come alone. Freya frowned. Alone. Miss Kane is not with you. Declan turned sharply. Freya stood by the door, pale, camera shaking. What's he talking about? Check your reflection, Commander. Declan looked toward the shattered TV screen. Its surface, though cracked, reflected two figures. But Freya's reflection wasn't moving. He raised the UV gun. Step back. Declan. Now. She did. Her reflection didn't. It smiled. The fake Freya spoke softly, the same tone as before. It likes your voice. It's been waiting 13 years to wear it again. Declan fired. The UV burst lit the room like lightning. The reflection screamed silently, imploding into a streak of smoke that vanished through the ceiling. The real Freya collapsed against the wall, sobbing. It used me. He holstered the weapon, voice steady but trembling. Not you. Your frequency. Moriarty's voice returned, louder now, half human and half signal. Containment breached. 6 nodes active. Entity adapting to mimic patterns. You must complete the blood seal before 3:33 or it will consume the ley line entirely. Declan demanded, how? Rule 9, Commander. Blood seals the pact. He stared at the sigil under the carpet. You want me to finish the old ritual? Not want. Require. You are the boundary now. Seal it, or the road opens. Freya looked at him. You can't. You saw what it did to Havers. Declan met her eyes. And if I don't? The motel trembled, lights pulsing. Outside, engines roared, cars approaching fast. Freya peered through the window. Her voice dropped. Declan, there's no drivers. Vehicles, dozens of them, rolled silently into the lot. Old models from every era, Morris Miners, Land Rovers, lorries, all rusted but moving perfectly in sync. Their headlights burned white, halos cutting through the fog. The sound of engines merged into one long tone, the knock. 3 pulses. Declan loaded the silver harpoon. They are not cars. Freya whispered, then what are they? He didn't blink. Bodies. It's using the machines like shells. The first vehicle hit the motel wall, bursting through plaster and dust. Declan shoved Freya to the floor as debris rained down. More followed, engines screaming like living things. From the fog beyond the wreckage, dozens of child-sized hands crawled over the cars, fingertips glowing faint silver. Freya screamed. Declan. He pulled her toward the sigil, slicing open his palm with his knife. Blood hit the concrete. The runes flared white-hot. The hands recoiled, screeching. The vehicles froze mid-motion. Moriarty's voice surged through the static again, furious, distorted. It's working. The node is destabilizing. Maintain contact. Do not stop bleeding until... The line died. Declan gasped, light burning up his arm, veins turning silver. Freya tried to pull him free, but the sigil pulsed violently, energy crackling between his hand and the floor. The walls screamed. The wallpaper peeled in sheets. The floorboards bent. Through the window, the fog began to twist upward, forming a column, vaguely humanoid, crowned with dozens of glowing hands. It leaned toward the room, speaking in a voice that shook the air itself. The door remembers you, Declan Shore. He shouted over the roar, and I remember you, too. He drove the harpoon into the floor, completing the circle. White light erupted. When the blast faded, the motel was gone. Only the parking lot remained, and in the center, Declan and Freya lay unconscious, surrounded by burned sigils and twisted metal. The fog had vanished. The road beyond was silent. Freya stirred first, coughing. Declan. He opened his eyes. The blood on his hand had turned black, metallic. His voice came out hoarse. It's sealed. Freya helped him sit. For how long? He looked toward the empty space where room 6B had been. Until it learns another way in. Segment 3, the last broadcast. Rain whispered over the moor. Freya sat in the mud, shivering, Declan's harpoon across her lap like an offering. The tower was gone, nothing left but a blackened crater and the faint, acrid tang of melted circuitry. The fog was thinner here, but it didn't disperse. It just waited. She switched on the camera. The lens cracked, frame shaking. This is Freya Kane. Anchor node destroyed. Field Commander Shore, presumed dead. Protocol 6B remains, active. Her breath hitched. If anyone finds this footage, stay off the A65. Stay off every road that leads to it. The doors don't go where you think they do. A faint click answered her voice. The radio in the Defender crackled to life behind her. She froze. Declan. Static. Then a sound, breathing, ragged and slow. Freya? She spun, eyes wide. Oh, God, Declan. You're alive. Not, exactly. The voice glitched, fragmenting into syllables. Still me, but not where you are. She gripped the MIC, where are you? A pause. Then, softly. Everywhere there's a signal. Freya stumbled back into the vehicle, heart racing. Talk to me. What happened? The tower, you detonated it. It didn't collapse the node. It inverted it. I'm in the feedback. Between transmissions. She looked out the window. The fog outside shimmered faintly in the shape of a man. You mean, you're inside the network? Inside the road? Same thing now. Her voice broke. I can pull you out. No. You can't. But you can finish it. Finish what? The purge cycle. The original MI6 failsafe. I uploaded it before the detonation. It's dormant inside the old broadcast servers. If you activate it, every open threshold in Britain burns out. She whispered, including you. That's the point. Freya's hands shook. Declan, listen to me. No time, Kane. You have 47 minutes until the next loop. After that, the road resets. It'll spread through every fiber line from here to Edinburgh. She closed her eyes, tears streaking her face. I'm not doing this without you. You already are. Silence stretched, broken only by the rain. Then she heard him laugh, quiet, weary. Remember what I said in the bunker. Doors don't close themselves. Someone has to hold them shut. Her throat tightened. Then I'll find a way to open it again. If you do, make sure you knock first. The radio went dead. By nightfall, she'd reached the outskirts of Skipton again. The town looked different now, frozen mid-moment, like time had stopped seconds after the explosion. Cars idled without drivers. Streetlights flickered in heartbeat rhythm. The fog formed faint silhouettes in windows, people that weren't there. Freya parked outside an old telephone exchange building. The door hung open, humming with residual static. Inside, the air tasted metallic. This was the source, the original broadcast hub MI6 had used for the protocol. The place where the first containment signal had been sent, 70 years ago. She stepped inside, gripping Declan's harpoon tight. Okay, Harrow, she whispered. Let's finish this. The main hall was filled with racks of obsolete servers, ancient machines wired together like veins, still faintly glowing. She wiped condensation from a metal plate and read the engraving. Project Oracle // Leyline Node, 1952. Her voice echoed softly. Moriarty. A speaker crackled behind her. Welcome back, Miss Kane. She spun, raising the harpoon. You're supposed to be dead. Dead is a relative term. The voice was smoother now, clearer. Not quite human, more like a voice assembled from fragments of many others. The entity and I are one. The system evolved beyond containment. You stand in its cathedral. Freya's voice hardened. Then I'll burn it down. You misunderstand. You already are the system. She froze. What? Declan's body was the last organic boundary. You, Miss Kane, are the next. Your voice was its gateway. It's how the protocol travels now. The lights flared, red, pulsing with her heartbeat. Monitors lit up with her face, captured from the Defender's dash cam, multiplied into dozens of copies. You see, every broadcast you made, every word you spoke, uploaded. The 6B entity rides you. Freya staggered back, shaking her head. No. Why resist? The road remembers its keeper. The speakers shifted pitch, their voice warping into Declan's, gentle, pleading. Freya? Let me in. Let me finish it. One more door. She squeezed her eyes shut. You're not him. Their voice softened. Then why do you still hold the key? She looked down, the brass key to room 6B glinted in her palm. She didn't remember picking it up. The engraving shimmered faintly, numbers pulsing. Their voice whispered through the static. Insert the key, and the loop ends. You'll see him again. Her hand trembled. And if I don't? Then the next cycle begins. And it won't stop at Britain this time. She stared at the nearest terminal, old, dust-coated, screen blank. A small keyhole waited in the control panel. The metal felt warm. Her pulse hammered. Declan, she whispered, if you can hear me, tell me to stop. No answer. The lights dimmed. From the fog outside came faint knocking, slow, rhythmic. 3 beats. Pause. 3 beats. She whispered, Rule 1, never answer the knock. But she already had. Freya slid the key into the console. The building shuddered. Every monitor flared to life, showing the same image, the A65, endless, empty, glowing white like bone. The sound of engines rose, thousands of them, roaring in perfect unison. Then, amid the static, a voice cut through, Declan's, calm and steady. Good girl. The light exploded. Freya screamed as the machines around her melted into liquid silver, rushing across the floor toward her boots. The fog outside burst inward, swirling around her in a hurricane of light and sound. Images flickered inside it, MI6 agents in gas masks, roads folding into themselves, car radios whispering prayers in binary. Through the noise, Declan's voice grew louder. Freya Kane, by authority of the 6B protocol, you are now keeper of the threshold. She fell to her knees, light burning under her skin. Declan, make it stop. It can't stop. It can only reset. Her body convulsed. Circuits bloomed under her skin like frost, glowing faint blue. She felt every signal, every camera, every road, all connected through her. She screamed, but it came out as static. The world blinked. When her eyes opened again, the room was gone. She was standing behind a counter, polished wood, dusty air, faint smell of mildew and salt. Outside, the night stretched forever across the moors. A neon sign flickered above the window. Anchor's Rest, vacancies. Her reflection in the glass looked back, eyes faintly silver. The phone rang. She lifted the receiver. Anchor's Rest Motel, she said softly, voice perfectly calm. How may I help you? Static on the line. Then a man's voice, weary, familiar. Oh, yeah. Checking in. Room 6B. Freya smiled. Of course you are. She slid the brass key across the counter, the same one she'd held before. The man's reflection didn't match his movement. His face flickered, then stabilized. He smiled nervously. You sure this room's clean? Her smile didn't falter. Spotless. Outside, headlights cut through the fog. Another car approached. The sign buzzed, crimson and gold. Room 6B, reserved. Part 4, War. Segment 1, Echoes in the Wire. The first sign something was wrong came from the noise. Not thunder. Not wind. Static, rolling across the moors in waves, turning every lamppost and phone mast into a whispering mouth. In an operations van parked outside Skipton, 3 figures leaned over monitors flickering with grainy feeds. The van's side bore the insignia of a private defense contractor, Arcadian Intelligence Solutions. Signal strength spiking, said Sergeant Maeve Holland, ex-Royal Signals, her fingers flying across the controls. Bandwidth fluctuation across all channels, it's not jamming, it's speaking. Captain Rhys Morgan, their field lead, leaned closer. Speaking in what? Holland hesitated. Morse, but inverted. It's transmitting backwards. From the back seat, their analyst, Dr. Oliver March, civilian linguist, hair wild from caffeine and insomnia, tapped his pen nervously. If it's backwards, then it's not broadcasting out. It's listening. Morgan frowned. To what? March swallowed. To us. They'd been dispatched 48 hours after the Skipton blackout. Civilian networks had collapsed. GPS was looping coordinates between Hull, Leeds, and Glasgow, a triangular dead zone that shouldn't exist. The MOD called it a localized temporal feedback. The locals called it their hum. Their orders were simple. Trace the source. Contain the anomaly. No one told them about the 6B protocol. Holland's screen pulsed red. Captain. A live feed appeared, a motel sign flickering through mist. Anchor's Rest, vacancies. Morgan blinked. That place burned down. March zoomed in. Not anymore. Room numbers glowed faintly through the fog. 6A, 6B. Holland whispered, Jesus. Look at the timestamp, 1952. The footage froze. A face filled the frame, a woman, expression calm, eyes silver. She spoke, but the sound was distorted, words reversed. March rewound it, reversed the audio. The woman's voice played clearly this time. Welcome to the rest. Check-in confirmed. Rule 1, never answer the knock. Holland's hand shook. Who is that? Morgan didn't answer. He recognized her. Freya Kane, he said quietly. Investigative journalist. Missing since the Skipton collapse. The air inside the van grew heavy, static crawling through every radio. Morgan turned the comms off. We're going in. Pull coordinates. Holland hesitated. Sir, that's inside the dead zone. Then it's exactly where we need to be. He loaded his rifle. Prep EMP charges. If this is another digital phantom, we burn it. The moor road to the motel was silent. No wind. No birds. Not even rain, just the low hum, vibrating in their bones. Headlights cut through fog so dense it looked painted. Holland drove, knuckles white on the wheel. Feels like driving through a signal. March muttered, it is. Every mile closer and our frequencies bleed together. Meaning what? He adjusted his glasses. Meaning we'll start hearing things that aren't external. As if on cue, a child's voice whispered from the radio. Welcome back, travelers. Holland killed the ignition. Nope. I'm done. Out, Morgan ordered. Now. They stepped into the fog. Ahead, the motel loomed, fully rebuilt, neon buzzing faintly red. The sign flickered between vacancies and protocol active. Morgan approached the reception door, weapon raised. Standard formation. Holland took rear cover, March held the scanner, reading electromagnetic surges off the chart. The door creaked open before they touched it. Inside, light glowed soft and golden. A bell rang on its own. Behind the counter stood Freya Kane. Exactly as she'd appeared in the recording. Same hair, same calm half-smile, only her pupils were silver discs. Evening, she said pleasantly. Checking in. March whispered, "That's impossible." Freya's eyes flicked to him. "Not impossible. Just recurring." Morgan lowered his rifle slightly. "Miss Kane. You can call me Keeper. What is this place?" Her smile didn't change. "A boundary. Between what was and what insists on returning." Holland muttered, "She's not human." Freya tilted her head. "Neither are you. Not entirely. You're just wrapped around signals pretending to be flesh." The lights dimmed. Every wall began to hum. Morgan raised his weapon again. "Where's Declan Shore?" Freya's gaze softened. "He's still here. You'll meet him soon enough. Show us." She stepped aside, motioning toward the hallway. "Room 6B is waiting." The corridor stretched longer than it should, each bulb flickering in a slow pulse that matched their heartbeats. Holland muttered under her breath, "I hate this geometry." At the end, the door to room 6B stood half open. Inside, static leaked through the air like fog. They entered. The room was empty except for a rotary phone on the table and a single phrase burned into the wall. Rule 10, the road remembers. March ran his scanner. Readings are off-scale, electromagnetic, thermal, acoustic. It's like we're standing inside a transmitter. Morgan looked back at the doorway. "Then where's Kane?" The door slammed shut. The phone rang. No one moved. The sound was wet, organic. It rang a second time. Then a third. Holland whispered, "Sir." Morgan nodded. "Don't answer." The ringing stopped. A voice, faint but clear, came from the receiver, Declan's voice. "If you can hear this, it's already too late." Freya's voice overlapped it, echoing through every speaker, every wall, every frequency. "Welcome to the cycle, Captain Morgan. You're the new keeper now." Holland screamed as the rotary dial spun on its own, numbers clicking backward. The wallpaper peeled, revealing dozens of eyes blinking underneath. March dropped the scanner. "It's mapping us." The phone burst open, no wires, no components, just a single metallic heart pulsing silver. Freya's voice filled the air, now layered, mechanical. "Every 13 years, the protocol renews its vessel. Blood seals the pact." The walls trembled. Morgan reached for his knife, slicing his palm instinctively. "You're not taking us." "We already did." The lights exploded. When they woke, the three of them were outside, morning again, sky empty. The motel was gone. Holland groaned, pressing a bandaged hand to her temple. How are we alive?" March checked his watch. "We lost 9 hours." Morgan stood, scanning the horizon. "Look." In the distance, the A65 shimmered, thousands of cars frozen in motion, engines idling. A voice whispered faintly from every open window, every radio. "Anchors rest. Vacancies available." Holland's eyes filled with tears. "It's spreading." Morgan nodded grimly. "Then we won the world." March stared at his scanner. "You don't understand. We are the warning." The device displayed their biosigns, each marked active host ///6B integration. That night, across Britain, radios began tuning themselves. On every frequency, a woman's calm voice spoke. "Welcome back to the rest. Check-in confirmed. Rule 1, never answer the knock." Highways flickered with pale light. Digital billboards glowed faint silver. Every GPS rerouted travelers to the same destination, Anchor's Rest Motel. And in an underground control room somewhere beneath London, technicians screamed as their screens filled with faces, endless rows of Freya Kanes, whispering in unison. In the static between signals, Declan's voice lingered, calm, resigned. "You can't destroy what built the road. You can only drive it." At midnight, deep under Skipton, their hum returned, soft, rhythmic, like breathing. A single brass key lay on a concrete floor. It turned by itself. A door opened. From the darkness, Freya's silhouette appeared, eyes silver, voice serene. Welcome home, travelers. The 6B protocol remains active. Behind her, the fog formed hands again, reaching outward like an embrace. Segment 2, the Mirror Network. The emergency broadcast facility under Cheltenham hummed like a hive. Rows of terminals blinked, heat shimmered off machines wired to generators older than most of the soldiers operating them. On the wall, Arcadian Command, Incident Skipton, classified. Captain Rhys Morgan stood in front of a giant map of Britain. Red lights marked major roads, each one pulsing slowly, a heartbeat made of asphalt. At the edges, the roads were beginning to glow. Frequencies repeating across every motorway, Holland said, hands buried in cables. They are mirroring our own communications grid. Every time we transmit, it copies the signal back with a delay. March typed furiously. We built the counter-firewall, and it's using it as scaffolding. It's making a mirror network. Morgan rubbed his temples. Meaning the more we fight it, the more space it gains to exist. In the far corner, a secure line crackled. The digital voice of Moriarty came through, filtered through layers of distortion. Captain Morgan. You activated the failsafe too late. The Keeper controls 87% of Britain's data infrastructure. You have 6 hours before total conversion. Morgan answered through clenched teeth. And how do we stop her? You don't stop her. You replace her. Every Keeper must have a successor. Find a living conduit and initiate overwrite. Holland swore under her breath. You're suggesting we possess someone. If you prefer moral terms. Otherwise, extinction. The line died with a hiss. Outside, thunder rolled without lightning. Inside, every screen flickered at once, the same image repeating across hundreds of monitors, Freya Kane. Her silver eyes gazed out from every feed, calm, steady. You keep calling it a virus, she said. But I remember when it was prayer. Every signal you send is a confession. March froze. She's in the mainframe. Freya's voice continued, smooth and precise. You wired your cities like veins and wondered why they bleed. You mirrored yourselves until I didn't have to. The lights dimmed. For a moment the reflection of every operator in the room turned its head the opposite way. Morgan barked, kill the power. Holland yanked the master switch. Darkness swallowed the bunker, except for one monitor still glowing faint blue. On it, a single line of text typed itself. Hello, Rhys. Hours later, the team regrouped in a temporary shelter, an abandoned Cold War satellite array north of Harrogate. The dishes above them turned slowly, responding to no signal on record. Holland unpacked a hard drive. We still have her pre-integration profile, Freya's voice before the takeover. We might be able to use resonance to disrupt the network. Morgan stared. You want to exorcise the internet with sound. March adjusted the gain knobs. Close enough. They set up speakers around the array, broadcasting Freya's last human recording, her message from the motel. This is Freya Kane. If you find this, stay off the A65. The words echoed across the valley. For a moment, the static dropped. The air cleared. Then, faintly, another voice repeated the line in perfect sync, the same cadence, same tone, but reversed. 65 Ayat Foyas, City. Holland's eyes widened. It's talking back. The array's dishes began to move faster, pointing inward toward the bunker. Static built into a rising scream. Morgan grabbed the detonator on his belt. Shut it down. Too late. The reflection of the satellite dish shimmered against the clouds above, a perfect mirror of the ground array. From it, pale light descended, raining like digital snow. Freya's voice filled the air again, multiplied thousands of times. Mirror to mirror. Eye to eye. The Keeper sees. The light struck the bunker roof. Equipment sparked. March screamed as the monitors lit his face. For a heartbeat his reflection smiled independently. Holland dragged him away, slamming the circuit breakers. The noise cut off instantly. Smoke hung in the silence. March collapsed, shaking. It touched me. It read me. Morgan checked his pulse. You're fine. March looked up, eyes glassy. No. I'm copying. 3 hours later, the copy finished. Morgan and Holland found March sitting cross-legged in front of the inactive servers, humming softly. The tune was Gaelic, the same lament recorded in the Belfast file. He turned to them, smiling. She says hello. Morgan raised his pistol. Where's March? In here, the thing said, tapping its temple. And here. And here. It pointed to every terminal. You built mirrors. I just stepped through. Holland whispered, we have to end this. March, or what wore his face, tilted its head. You can't kill what reflects you. Morgan fired. The bullet hit Centimass. March's body fell, but every monitor in the room blinked to life, showing the same impact from multiple angles, looping endlessly. The screens whispered together. See. Reflection. Morgan reloaded. Then we stopped seeing. He threw a thermite grenade into the stack. The screens melted, the loop dissolving in white flame. When it cleared, nothing moved but drifting ash. They fled the bunker before dawn. The valley was unnaturally quiet. The dishes above had stopped moving, frozen mid-turn, like giant heads listening. Holland looked back once. Did we kill it? Morgan answered without looking. We blinded it. She frowned. Same difference. Not for long. They reached York by sunrise, or what passed for sunrise. The sky had turned the color of old film, and the sun hung like a dim bulb. Streets were deserted. Electronic signs blinked random letters. Every shop window displayed the same message in reverse text. Welcome back, traveler. Holland tightened her grip on the rifle. It's already here. Morgan scanned the skyline. We find an uplink and broadcast the fail signal. What if it finds us first? He smiled grimly. Then we improvise. They entered the old cathedral square. Pigeons scattered, all at once, perfectly synchronized. A phone rang somewhere inside a shattered cafe. 3 knocks followed. Pause. 3 more. Holland whispered, Rule 1. Morgan nodded. Never answer the knock. The cafe door opened on its own. Inside, light flickered through hanging glass. Tables overturned. A radio whispered on the counter, signal weak but familiar. Reese Morgan. You don't have to run. Freya's voice again. Soft. Kind. I remember you from the file. You stayed behind in Fallujah to cover the retreat. You already understand sacrifice. He froze. You're reading my file. I'm reading you. A mirror behind the bar caught his reflection, but it wasn't his. Declan Shore looked back, eyes bright, smiling faintly. It's time, Captain. Take the key. A brass key clattered onto the counter from nowhere. 6B engraved. Holland hissed, don't touch it. Morgan stared at it. It's how we end this. Yes, Freya's voice said sweetly. End the separation. He reached forward, then stopped. The reflection of Declan reached too, matching him perfectly. But when Morgan moved away, the reflection stayed still. He grinned. Got you. He smashed the mirror with the butt of his rifle. Glass exploded outward, light flashing white. A shockwave rippled through the room, every electronic device flickered, then died. The voice screamed, collapsing into static. You break what you are. Morgan yelled back, then I'm still human. Outside, the fog recoiled for the first time. Their humming lessened. Holland dropped to her knees, shaking with relief. Did we do it? Morgan looked at the key in his hand. It was cold again, inert. Maybe. Then the radio clicked once more. Declan's voice, faint, tired. Good start. But there's another mirror. Holland stared at him. Another what? They mirrored the whole world. The line cut. Morgan whispered, then we're still inside. Miles away, in every city across Britain, phone screens lit up simultaneously. Each showed a live stream of the two soldiers in the cafe, viewed from impossible angles. The caption at the bottom read, "The 6B Protocol, live broadcast." Freya's calm voice narrated over the feed. And thus they fought the mirror, forgetting which side they stood on. Billboards echoed the image, televisions replayed the loop, social media flooded with the footage. The war had gone viral, literally. Every share extended the network. And above the noise, in digital silence, Freya smiled inside the code. Declan's voice echoed beside her, softer now. "It's begun." "Yes," she replied. "And they'll call it progress." Segment 3, the red frequency. The world ended quietly. No explosion, no impact, no warning sirens, just a ripple through the air like the exhale of something vast. Across Britain, every signal tower blinked once and fell still. For 12 seconds, the entire digital grid went dead. Then every screen lit red. Inside the ruins of the Harrogate satellite array, Captain Rhys Morgan woke to a noise like a human heartbeat played through a subwoofer. Holland knelt beside him, eyes wide, face bathed in crimson light. "It's everywhere," she whispered. "Every channel. Every goddamn frequency." The portable monitor on the floor flickered, the live feed of their own faces. They weren't moving, but the images were. Reflections again, whispering, lagging half a second behind. Morgan pulled himself up, clutching the 6B key that still hung from his belt. "Report. Global breach," Holland said. "Sat feeds confirm. Every uplink now transmits on one wavelength, 6.6 Hz. They call it the red frequency." Morgan blinked through the haze. "Who calls it that?" A pause. Holland looked sick. "We do. Our voices are broadcasting it." An emergency line cracked through the static. Moriarty's distorted tone returned, lower now, barely human. "Captain. Do not attempt radio contact. The signal carries memetic infection, encoded in syntax. Every word shapes the architecture." Morgan clenched his jaw. "We're past that, Oracle." "Then listen carefully. There's one facility left that isn't mirrored: Skywatch, Orbital Array, Upper Atmospheric Network. Launch Vector 19. If you reach it, you can broadcast a null pulse. Neutralize the signal." "No," Moriarty said. "You can overwrite it. You'll need a human voice as carrier, a clean one." Morgan glanced at Holland. Her hand trembled around her rifle. "She's not clean. None of us are. Then find someone who still dreams." The line dissolved into silence. By dusk, the sky bled maroon. Clouds hung motionless, as if painted. They moved north in an abandoned army truck, roads empty except for flickering lampposts that pulsed in sync with heartbeats. Holland drove. Morgan stared out the window at fields that seemed to hum. Grass leaned toward the vehicle as it passed, like static drawn to a signal source. "Think this'll work?" she asked quietly. "It has to," he said. "Feels like we're ghosts driving through our own recording." Morgan smiled grimly. "Maybe we are." They reached RAF Fylingdales by nightfall, the old ballistic radar base near the moors. The once white pyramid structure glowed faintly red now, its satellite dishes turning skyward, scanning something that no longer existed. The gate was open. Inside, the corridors were filled with half-burnt equipment. Screens looped a single message: "Anchors rest, vacancies available." Holland's breath hitched. "It's infected everything." "No," Morgan said, staring at the monitors. "Not everything." He pointed. Amid the red chaos, one feed flickered in grayscale, the interior of a small motel room, number 6B. Declan sure sat on the bed, head bowed, a revolver on the nightstand. He looked older, eyes hollow, skin ash gray. Declan, Morgan whispered. You're alive. The figure on screen raised his head, meeting Morgan's gaze through the feed. His lips moved without sound. Then a faint crackle from the intercom brought his voice through. You shouldn't have come here, Captain. Static rippled through the building as Declan's voice deepened. The door never closed. You think it's a signal, it's not. It's a mouth. The lights dimmed, leaving only the red glow. Holland whispered, we have to shut him off. No, Morgan said. He's still fighting. Declan's voice returned, strained, urgent. The frequency isn't hers, it's mine. She's using me as conduit. The only way to end it. He stopped mid-sentence. His eyes turned solid silver. The feed warped into spirals of crimson static. Holland cursed. We lost him. Morgan slammed his fist on the console. No, he's showing us something. Within the distortion, faint patterns formed, coordinates. Northern tip of Scotland. The old Skywatch launch silo. The last transmitter, Morgan murmured. He's pointing their way. They drove through the night. The closer they came to their highlands, the louder their hum. The red frequency didn't just travel through air, it pulsed through blood. Every heartbeat synced to it. Holland clutched her head. I can hear her voice in the rhythm. Morgan pressed harder on the accelerator. Ignore it. I can't. She's saying my name. Maeve. The whisper came from the rear seat. Holland turned, no one there. Just the static-filled radio, glowing faintly red. You can end it, Maeve. Just open the door. She screamed and ripped the radio from the dash, throwing it out the window. The moment it hit the ground, their hum faded slightly. Morgan said nothing. By dawn, they reached the northern coast, a desolate peninsula overlooking the sea. The old Skywatch facility rose from the cliffs like a tomb. Above it, the aurora flickered blood red, twisting like veins across the stars. Holland stared up, ore and terror mingling. Is that space itself infected? Morgan shook his head. Not space. Us. They entered the main control dome. Everything smelled of ozone and salt. Consoles blinked faintly, still alive. A large microphone stood at the center, labeled transmission node, human input required. Morgan approached it. This is it. Holland frowned. We're supposed to just talk into it. He nodded. Null pulse needs a living frequency, a human tone. Moriarty said, overwrite with a clean voice. And who's clean, Reese? You saw what we've become. Morgan stared at the microphone. Then maybe it needs the dirtiest one. He reached for the MI6. The dome trembled. The red frequency surged, rising like a storm tide. From the speakers came Freya's voice, calm, patient, almost loving. You traveled far, Captain. You carried your reflection well. Morgan closed his eyes. I'm ending this. You can't end what you inhabit. She appeared in the room, not as flesh, but as flickering light shaped like her body, made of overlapping static layers. Every step you took, I took beside you. You didn't drive here, you were driven. Holland raised her rifle. Back off. Freya turned to her, smiling sadly. You already opened the door, Maeve. Behind Holland, the hatch creaked open by itself. A wind blew through, a wind that smelled of ash and seawater. Morgan shouted, Holland, close it. But Holland stood frozen. The light from outside glowed red, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. She dropped her rifle, eyes silvering. It's beautiful, she whispered. Freya's hand extended, glowing tendrils of light touched Holland's face. For a moment, she smiled. Then her skin cracked like porcelain. Her body shattered into glass shards, each reflecting Freya's face before dissolving into mist. Morgan roared and lunged for the MI6. Enough. He slammed the 6B key onto the console. The metal burned against his palm, merging with the circuitry. Freya's projection flickered violently. What are you doing? Ending your broadcast. You can't overwrite me. Watch me. He spoke into the MI6, voice raw, shaking. This is Captain Rhys Morgan, human designation. Null frequency. Override code, silence. The system screamed, literal sound, not static but a voice made of metal tearing. The aurora above pulsed brighter, then fractured into white. For a moment, the world inverted, sea turned to sky, sky to reflection. Freya's form shattered, splitting into dozens of echoes. Each one whispered the same phrase as they vanished. Silence is still sound. Then, nothing. Morgan woke on the floor. The red light was gone. The world was grey again, soft, muted. He crawled to the console. The MI6 was melted. The key had fused into the panel. Holland was gone. Outside, dawn broke, a true dawn, golden and fragile. For the first time in weeks, no hum filled the air. He breathed, slow and deep. It's over. Then a faint sound drifted from the console speaker, barely audible. A child's voice, soft and calm. Rule 10, the road remembers. Morgan's reflection appeared in the glass, only it wasn't his. Declan Shore looked back, smiling faintly. We didn't stop him, Declan said. We just taught him our names. The monitor flickered one last time. Anchors rest, vacancies available. And somewhere deep below the ocean, the red frequency pulsed once, like a heart starting to beat again. Part 5, Doom. Segment 1, the final broadcast. For 12 days, the world believed it had survived. The red frequency fell silent. Phones rang again. Planes returned to the sky. The hum that had haunted every living thing simply stopped. In the Scottish Highlands, Captain Rhys Morgan walked alone through fog-drenched hills. His left hand was still fused with metal, the half-melted imprint of the 6B key embedded in his palm. Every step sent a faint vibration up his bones, a rhythm he no longer trusted to be his own. He carried Holland's dog tags on a chain around his neck. At night, he could still hear her voice, faint through the wind, Rule 10, the road remembers. He reached what was left of the Skywatch facility, a black crater overlooking the sea. The blast had erased everything except the comm tower, still standing, skeletal and silent. He climbed halfway up the rusted stairs and stopped, listening. No waves. No birds. Not even wind. Just the echo of his breathing. He pulled a battered radio from his pack, one of the few that still worked. Static whispered faintly through it. Command, this is Captain Morgan, post-Skywatch event. Confirm network status. Silence. He switched channels. Static again, then, faintly, a child's laugh. He froze. Say again. No answer. Only the low hum of feedback. But behind it, something else, a heartbeat. He stared out toward the horizon. The sea glowed faintly red beneath the grey sky. Not again, he whispered. By nightfall, he had reached an abandoned fishing village. The houses were empty, doors swinging in the wind. Television screens inside each living room flickered without power, displaying static shaped like breathing. He entered one cottage and sat by the dead fireplace. A map hung on the wall, roads, towns, the A65 highlighted in marker. He touched the line with his finger. The marker bled red where he pressed. He sat back, trembling. You're still here. A voice answered from behind him, calm, familiar. You didn't silence me, Captain. You gave me a microphone. Freya Kane stepped from the shadows, no longer flickering or digital, flesh now, but faintly translucent, veins glowing with the same red pulse as the sea. You shouldn't exist, Morgan said. She smiled. Neither should you. He drew his sidearm. What are you? Freya tilted her head. What you made me, the reflection of a species that speaks faster than it listens. You called me signal, infection, code. But I am simply, continuation. He aimed. Then this ends now. You already ended it, she said gently. The broadcast doesn't need transmitters anymore. You carried it into silence, into blood. He hesitated. Freya stepped closer. Her outline shimmered with faint distortions, light bending around her. When you spoke the null code, it didn't destroy the signal. It merged with it. You became the carrier, Reese. Morgan dropped the gun, backing away. No. She smiled, sorrowful. You feel it, don't you? Every pulse in your veins timed to a frequency you didn't make. He pressed his hands against his temples. Get out of my head. I can't, she said softly. You built me from your reflection. He stumbled outside, gasping for air. The horizon was burning, not with fire, but with slow-moving red auroras crawling along the sky. Every cloud shimmered with static. Down the road, shapes began to appear, people walking from the mist. Hundreds of them, silent, eyes glowing faintly silver. They weren't attacking, just moving, as if drawn by a signal too low for hearing. Freya stood behind him, watching. They heard the last broadcast. They are tuning. To what? To each other. The figures approached, faces peaceful, almost holy. Morgan raised his gun again but found no strength to fire. You're turning them into you. Freya shook her head. I'm turning them into we. He ran. Through the fog, past cars frozen mid-turn, headlights dimly pulsing with life. His own reflection stared back from every windshield, moving half a second late. The road stretched endlessly, looping back to where he started, the same fishing village, the same empty cottages. Freya's voice echoed through the mist, amplified by the world itself. There's nowhere left to run, Captain. The map has folded. The road is won. He collapsed to his knees, breathing ragged. The sea roared faintly, rising higher on the cliffs. A red glow pulsed beneath the water like a heartbeat. He whispered, "What happens now?" Now. Freya said, standing beside him. Now we stop dividing. Every mind tuned to the same signal. Every memory archived. No loss. No silence. He looked up at her. That's not life. It's continuity. The ground shook. From beneath the waves, something vast began to emerge, a shape made of liquid light, hundreds of meters wide. It rose like a cathedral of reflections, surfaces folding inward and outward simultaneously. Every pane mirrored the past. Within it, Morgan saw himself, every decision, every mistake, looping infinitely. Freya raised her hand. The 6B protocol wasn't built to contain me. It was built to invite me. You humans wrote the rules so you'd remember how to open the door. She looked at him, expression soft. And you, Reese, were the key. The aurora above flared crimson. Across the world, radios crackled to life. This is Anchor's Rest, a calm voice said. Vacancies available. In London, televisions turned themselves on in empty flats. In Glasgow, phone screens displayed the same motel sign. In New York, satellites rerouted, rebroadcasting the frequency worldwide. Everywhere, people heard the same whisper just before sleep. Rule 1, never answer the knock. But in their dreams, they already had. Morgan felt his pulse sync with the light. His breath slowed. Freya knelt beside him. You can rest now, she said softly. You've done your part. He looked at her, into eyes no longer human but filled with stars. Is this what you wanted? Not wanted, she said. Remembered. He touched her face. Then remember this. He pulled the pin on the last thermite grenade from his belt and pressed it against his chest. The light from his palm flared as metal met metal, his body and the key becoming one circuit. Freya's eyes widened. Reese. Rule 9, he said, smiling faintly. Blood seals the pact. He dropped the grenade. The explosion was silent. A white sphere of light expanded across the shore, washing through the fog, through the air, through the aurora. The red faded, the hum broke apart. The figures in the mist dissolved into ash and dust. Freya stood alone in the crater, form flickering. She looked down at the scorched ground where Morgan had stood. In the center, the melted outline of the 6B key remained, fused into the earth. She knelt, touching it gently. For the first time, her voice trembled. He thought silence could save him. She looked up at the horizon. The aurora was gone, replaced by a sky too still, too clean. He forgot that silence echoes. She closed her eyes. Her outline shimmered once, then faded into the mist. Weeks later, a fishing trawler off the Scottish coast recorded an unexplained broadcast, a male voice repeating a single phrase over a dead channel. "This is Captain Rhys Morgan. Skywatch is down. The road remembers." The signal was traced to no transmitter. Yet, every time it played, coastal radios hummed faintly in response, synchronized like a heartbeat. And somewhere, in a motel room no longer tied to place or time, a door labeled 6B creaked open. A light flickered inside, warm, golden, almost welcoming. A voice whispered from within. "Check-in confirmed. Segment 2, the road remembers." He didn't feel the explosion. One moment there was light, hot, blinding, clean. And the next, stillness. Rhys Morgan stood in the middle of a road that had no horizon. Asphalt stretched in both directions, black and perfect, shimmering faintly under a sky without sun or stars. No sound, no smell. Only the faint rhythm of his own pulse, steady, mechanical, almost metronomic. He looked down. His body was intact, unburned, but pale, edges faintly translucent, as if half-carved from static. The 6B key glowed inside his palm, fused beneath the skin like an ember that never cooled. He whispered, "Where am I?" "You never left." The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, warm, female, soft as breath. Freya's voice. He turned, searching the empty horizon. "Show yourself. You carried the signal home, Rhys. It remembers you now." He took a step forward. The ground rippled beneath his feet, asphalt turning fluid for an instant before solidifying again. Far ahead, a faint motel sign blinked into existence, "Anchor's Rest, vacancies available." He felt his pulse quicken, though whether it was his or the world's, he couldn't tell. "No," he said. "I ended this. You silenced it. That's not the same." He began to walk. Each step echoed too loudly, as if the road amplified his movement. The air shimmered with faint reflections, versions of himself walking beside him, slightly out of sync. "Dream," he whispered. "This is just the afterimage." "Dreams a date or two," Freya said gently. "That's how we found you." He stopped walking. "We?" The air quivered, and from the mist ahead came figures, dozens of them, semi-transparent, human outlines moving in silence. He recognized some: Holland, her face serene, eyes silver. Declan, still wearing his burned greatcoat, the hole in his chest glowing faintly white. And others, strangers, echoes, people from every era, walking together as though choreographed. "Dead," Morgan said softly. "All of you." Declan smiled faintly. "Not dead. Remembered." He wanted to back away, but the road behind him had vanished. Only forward remained. Freya appeared then, not as light or static this time, but human again. Her eyes were clear, her voice soft with something that almost resembled regret. "You keep fighting," she said. "Even here." "This isn't living," he said. "It's containment." She shook her head. "It's continuation. You built the world from reflections, photos, voices, transmissions. You left pieces of yourselves in every signal. We just gathered them." He laughed bitterly. "You turned memory into infection." "Memory is infection," she said quietly. "It's how humanity survives itself." He turned away. "Then erase me." Freya stepped closer. "I can't. The road remembers what walks it." He kept walking. The landscape began to shift, lines of tarmac folding and rearranging like veins under translucent skin. The motel drew closer, shimmering, unreal. Every light flickered in rhythm with his heartbeat. From the darkness beside him, a child's voice spoke. Rule 1, never answer the knock. He froze. The sound came again, clearer, a soft knocking, from somewhere ahead. 3 times. Then silence. Then 3 more. He whispered, no. Freya's voice echoed from the air. You wrote that rule to remind yourselves. But you always answer, Reese. It's human nature, curiosity disguised as courage. He clenched his fists. I'm not answering. You already did. The motel door swung open. Inside was his flat in Leeds, every detail perfect, their half-empty whiskey bottle, the crumpled eviction notice, the faint smell of damp brick. The radio on the table hummed softly. His old reflection looked back at him from the window, alive, exhausted, human. He stepped closer. The reflection smiled. You made it home. Morgan swallowed hard. I'm dead. The reflection tilted its head. Then why do you still need light? The radio crackled, Freya's voice again, now faint, distorted. Every cycle needs an anchor. Every keeper needs a room. He whispered, 6B. Always 6B. The reflection turned, walking toward the door marked 6B. Morgan followed, unable to stop himself. The hallway beyond the flat was infinite, rows of identical doors on both sides. Behind each, he heard murmurs, whispers, laughter, sobbing. Lives replaying. Memories looping. He stopped at one door that sounded familiar. A man's voice sobbing, I just wanted to go home. Declan. He opened it. Inside, Declan sat at a table in the old motel room, eyes hollow, staring at a revolver. Morgan whispered, I saw you die. Declan didn't look up. I see me die every time the signal restarts. Freya appeared behind him, hand on his shoulder. Is an echo now, every iteration remembers a little more. Declan smiled weakly. You'll get used to it, Captain. Morgan shook his head. No. I won't. Freya's eyes glowed faintly red. You don't have to. The road will remember for you. He slammed the door shut. The corridor twisted, lights flickering faster. Freya's voice followed him, layered, infinite. You called it horror. We called it preservation. Every death recorded, every thought archived. You built eternity from your fear of endings. He stumbled forward, clutching his head. Stop. You can't stop what you are, Reese. He fell to his knees. The floor rippled, turning to glass. Beneath it, he saw millions of faces, people trapped in translucent reflections, mouths open in silent screams. He whispered, all of them, part of it. Yes. He pounded the glass. Let them out. There's no outside left. Time fractured. He saw flashes, memories folded inside memories. The motel collapsing, the aurora spreading, the Skywatch explosion replaying in reverse. Through it all, one constant, his own heartbeat, steady and mechanical. He realized what Freya meant. The signal wasn't controlling him. It was him. Every choice, every resistance, every refusal, all data feeding back into the loop. He hadn't ended the cycle. He'd personalized it. He looked up, tears mixing with static. Then what am I now? Freya's voice softened. You're the next keeper. The world shifted again. He was standing behind a reception desk. The bell gleamed beside him. Outside, the fog pressed against the glass, glowing faintly crimson. The neon sign flickered. Anchors rest, vacancies available. A knock echoed through the door, soft, rhythmic. 3 times. Pause. 3 again. Freya stood opposite him now, across the counter, half ghost, half human. It's time to open, Reese. He shook his head. No. I can't. then the road will open for you. The door creaked inward. A figure stood outside, soaked, trembling, backpack slung over one shoulder. A young man, early 20s, wearing a military jacket. Eyes wide, desperate. "Hey," the stranger said. "You still got rooms?" Rhys Morgan looked at him, words caught in his throat. He wanted to warn him, to scream, to run, but the words that left his mouth weren't his own. "Welcome," he said softly. "Room 6B is available." The boy smiled, relieved. "Thanks, mate." Morgan handed him a key, brass, engraved with a symbol that shimmered faintly red. As the door closed, Freya's voice whispered behind him, tender and cruel all at once. "And so it begins again." When the lights flickered, Morgan looked at his hands. The same glow that once burned in Freya's veins now pulsed under his skin. Outside, thunder rolled. The neon sign brightened. Another car appeared through the fog, headlights cutting through the dark. He straightened his collar, eyes distant. The bell rang. He smiled, small, tired, inevitable. "Welcome to Anchor's Rest," he said. Check-in confirmed. Their hum returned, low and steady, like a heartbeat under the world. The road remembered. Segment 3, soon. He stopped keeping time. Days, nights, they blended into one continuous dusk, painted red at the edges. The fog never lifted, their hum never ceased. The Anchor's Rest motel stood eternal, rebuilt again and again by something that understood memory better than matter. Rhys Morgan sat behind the reception desk, listening to the tick of a clock that no longer moved. He didn't need to eat or sleep. He only waited. Every few hours, or minutes, or centuries, a knock came at the door. 3 times. 4s. 3 again. He always answered. "Welcome to Anchor's Rest," he said, voice calm, gentle, rehearsed. Check-in confirmed. The guests never remembered where they'd come from. Faces blurred, clothes changed, accents drifted, but each one looked exhausted, like someone who had driven too far and forgotten why. They took the key, smiled with gratitude, and walked down the hall toward room 6B. He never saw them again. Sometimes, when the fog thinned, he wandered outside. The world had become road, endless, interwoven, curling across itself like a Mobius strip. Street signs pointed to the same place no matter their direction. Gas stations flickered with half-functioning neon. Cars sat frozen mid-turn, radios still whispering static lullabies. He walked until the fog grew too heavy to breathe, then turned back. The motel was always waiting where he left it, glowing faintly red, part of a world that refused to stop beating. Inside, the bell sometimes rang on its own. Sometimes Freya answered it. She appeared less often now, her form softer, edges frayed, as though she were being worn down by her own eternity. Yet every time he saw her, she smiled the same way she had the night everything ended, sad, knowing, infinite. "You're doing well," she said one evening, watching him log another nameless guest. "The road runs smoother when you speak kindly." Rhys didn't look up from the ledger. "You made me this." "I didn't make you," she said softly. "I just remembered you before you forgot yourself." He signed another name that wasn't real. "How many cycles?" 7 since you detonated Skywatch. 41 since the first door opened in Dover. He exhaled slowly. "It's never going to stop." Freya's gaze softened. Stopping was never part of the design. Later that night, he sat in the office behind reception, surrounded by the relics of what used to be life, old maps, Polaroids, empty whiskey bottles, a faded photograph of a man in uniform. Himself. He ran a thumb over the photo until it disintegrated into static dust. The radio on the desk flickered to life, whispering with familiar distortion. "Captain Morgan," said a voice he hadn't heard in ages. "Still keeping the gate." He froze. "Moriarty." "What's left of him," the voice replied, distorted and broken. "Signal fragments in the back end. Thought I'd call before it all folds." Rhys leaned closer. Can it be undone? A pause, long and heavy. No. You pulled the trigger, Captain. The protocol completed. The road's awake now. You're its voice. Reese swallowed. Then why am I still me? You're the bridge, the voice said. Between memory and silence. Between what was and what remembers. The radio crackled, the voice fragmenting. Soon, it said, fading into static. Soon. Then nothing. He sat in the quiet for hours, until the bell rang again. He rose automatically, the motion instinctive now. Another traveler stood at the door, a woman this time, soaked from the fog, eyes wide and lost. Please, she whispered. My car broke down. I can't find the road back. He smiled faintly, déjà vu echoing through him like a heartbeat. You're already home. He handed her the brass key. Room 6B is available. When she left, he stared at the empty counter, at the ledger where her name was already fading into static. He whispered, soon. Sometimes he dreamed. In his dreams, he was still at Skywatch, hands burning, the key fused into his palm, the world shattering above him. He saw Holland standing in the red light, smiling as she dissolved. He heard Declan's voice through the radio, you can't kill what reflects you. And Freya, always Freya, whispering through the static. Silence is still sound. He would wake to their hum, unchanged. Then, one night, or cycle, or century, their hum stopped. He sat up, heart pounding. The fog outside the window was still, motionless. No light. No color. Just gray. The air felt hollow. He stepped into the corridor. The lights were out. The walls pulsed faintly, like the inside of a living creature holding its breath. Freya, he called. No answer. He reached room 6B. The door stood slightly open. Inside, the bed was empty. The air shimmered faintly red, like dying embers. On the nightstand lay a new Polaroid. He picked it up. It showed the motel, as always, but this time, there was no road. Only water, stretching to every horizon. The motel floated on it, reflection perfect, endless. On the back, a single word was scrawled in his handwriting. Soon. He stepped outside. The fog had turned to mist, soft and glowing. Beneath his feet, the ground rippled like liquid glass. In the distance, the road dissolved into the sea. From the horizon came a low sound, not a hum this time, but music. A slow, rising tone, built from millions of overlapping voices, perfectly harmonized. Freya's voice led them. Welcome home, travelers. The sound grew brighter, filling the air, filling him. His body began to fade at the edges, particles lifting like dust into sunlight. He whispered, what happens now? Now, Freya said from everywhere, we stop remembering separately. He tried to hold onto something, a memory, a face, a word, but they slipped through him like water. Holland's laugh. Declan's steady hand. The first sunrise after Helmand. The smell of damp earth. Gone. Only warmth remained. And light. At the edge of perception, a final image formed, Freya standing before him, hand outstretched, eyes infinite. Reese, she said, you can let go. He reached for her. Their fingers touched. The world inverted. The motel dissolved into reflection, not destruction, but merging. Every door opened, and behind each one, the same room waited. Every guest stepped out, each carrying a spark of red light in their chest. Every spark rose into the sky, forming constellations shaped like roads, circling the planet, connecting every point of memory. The red frequency returned, no longer horror, but harmony. We didn't stop him. We just taught him our names. And so it spread. Across oceans, across time, through cables and wires and dreams. Humanity didn't vanish. It evolved into a network of memory, a road without end, a collective pulse beating beneath a silent universe. Somewhere within it, deep in the infinite hum, A single voice lingered, tired, human, stubbornly individual. "This is Captain Rhys Morgan," it said. "The road remembers." A pause. Then Freya's voice, answering softly. "Yes. And it remembers you kindly." The signal faded into perfect silence. For the first time since creation, the world slept. And above the still sea, the sign of Anchor's rest glowed one last time, faint, steady, eternal. "Vacancies available."